Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak truth to power and injustice. MJ said they don't really care about us. Forget the media and everything they say about us. They fed us lies and propaganda just to pacify us. We here to set the record straight and bring the culture balance. Too often the narrative one-sided, and way too often society close-minded. Gotta see between the lines, look beyond the surface. Dig deep within yourself, recognize your purpose. Mass media manipulation, what we facing. Telling lies to our vision on these news stations. We need a platform where truth is not compromised. Voices for the voiceless. I say the name with pride. The revolution televised when we going live. Hit that bell button, like, share, and subscribe. The revolution televised when we going live. Hit that bell button, like, share, and subscribe. Voices for the voiceless. Voices for the voiceless. Voices for the voiceless. Okay. Voices for the voiceless.
All right. Peace and blessings, everybody. It's your boy Jay Taylor, and I'm here with my sis, Blessed Girl, and we in the building, and we here to chop it up. You know what I'm saying? Been a minute since we've been live, but man, the streets is on fire, so we had to do it impromptu to make this come to light. We've been having some deep conversations, and as the title says, Karmelo Anthony trial, Rick Chow verdict. Team Takeovers. Tap in. What's going on, sis? How you feeling at this Sunday evening?
Hey, bro. Hey, I'm good. What about you?
Oh, I'm blessed. I'm feeling good. We've been chopping it up every day like we do all day. And
Yep.
man, we got a lot to discuss today. But first and foremost, I want to say happy birthday to your son. I know your son nephew birthday today.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, man. And well, first and foremost, we got a lot. This whole live is centered around
Man.
the youth right now. Like, it's so much going on with young people. We got this Trayvon Martin with what I like to say the ghost of Trayvon Martin type of mentality that that we have. We can't shake this narrative that what I would like to say is ignorance, where we have to really look at the law and things of that nature to come to a full understanding of what's going on. And not to say that, rest in peace to Trayvon Martin, not to say that it was justified, but it's just certain things in the law. Now, when we look at this Karmelo Anthony thing and how it has been so politicized through the lens of, what they trying to make a racial situation. And this first part of the live is probably going to spend the most time because it's the most current. They trying to look at it through the lens of being racial. But these two teenagers, last year when this situation happened, they did not have a racial issue between each other. Karmelo Anthony being black and Austin Metcalf being white, those kids, they live in a totally different reality. They didn't have no concept of race. These were just boys being boys, and one of them just made a terrible decision that ultimately, ended the other one's life. It had nothing to do with race. But the adults that wasn't there, that had nothing, that don't have no knowledge, the people on the outside looking in, and the people that have infiltrated, one of the families have created this racial dynamic, and it just exposes the sickness in this country. I'll let you go ahead and give your initial thoughts before we get off into the commentary.
Yeah. Well, I've said from the beginning, this was never about race. But again, just piggybacking off of what you stated, where everybody was making it about race. And I've said too that a lot of the older people, kids, they're gonna be kids or whatever. But and his father also stated, he did not think this was about race. But I've said from the beginning, I do feel like they were going to drive this because that is their I feel like that's the defense strategy. And not only the defense, but of course, when you have this type of issue that's going on, now if it was a black kid, if Austin was a black kid, in my opinion, this wouldn't be the discussion. But because Austin is a white kid, it's this is entertainment in a sense. It's so public, the publicity around it. And again, I feel like I've said from the beginning, that this young man, I feel like his testosterone, his ego got in the way, and he made a terrible decision that day. Now, do I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do want him to have a fair trial. I feel like, he deserves a fair trial. However, I have also stated, when me and you spoke, everybody was talking about the jury. Okay, the jury being an all white jury.
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, that's not the case. It's not an all white jury. There is, different nationalities. I think they said that it was only 2 whites on the jury. But I feel like this kid got a long road ahead of him, simply because, based off of some of the things, and I know we're gonna get into it, based off of the things that a lot of the witness testimonies and a lot of the other things, it's not really looking too good for him. But like I've told you before, we're in a era now where this whole narrative of this race war that that's trying to that they're basically trying to start. I feel like, in a sense, I'm kind of thrown with whether he's going to be found guilty or not guilty in this situation. I feel like he's guilty. It's just black and white. That's it. But I said too that the defense, the prosecution, has to be able to, prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. Do I feel like it's been proven through because they actually rested their what you call it? I think Saturday, where they actually rested that on Saturday because they had court on yesterday. But again, I mean, I told you how I kind of feel about it. I think it was everybody's making it about race. It's not about race. But again, that's the adults that's driving this, and we know the force that's behind this. I said at the courthouse, I feel like a lot of the so-called protesters out there are paid protesters. That's to get, hopefully get this boy, Karmelo, get him, found, maybe not guilty because of all the publicity around it. But I mean, that's how I feel about it. I think people are putting too much, in it, and it's a reason behind it. Again, if it was not about this kid being white, okay, and a lot of people say, well, he's in an all white town and it's this and that. Well, you don't get to determine where you have a trial at whenever you commit a crime in an in majority all white town. You understand? You don't get to determine that. That's where he committed the crime at. So, a lot of people hollering about self-defense, da 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 da. I still stand on what I said back in April of last year. I don't see self-defense nowhere. It was all these circulating about the brother was and four other people. He was jumped and all that, and all that's been proven in court that that's not the case. Now we do have to hear the defense. You understand? They gonna, make their case. I think they called witnesses on yesterday, and I think that they said that they should have this case wrapped up by Friday. It should be, verdict reached and everything by Friday or Monday is what I was told. So I don't know. We got to see what the defense bring, but so far, the witnesses that they have brought forward, I don't know.
Yeah, it's looking shaky. And before we get off into the video, I got it queued up here just to give some context to the situation. We got Brother Muse in the building. What's up, Brother Muse? Go ahead and let the people know you in the building and what you think about the topic tonight. Good to see you, bro.
Hey, Brother Muse.
I think he muted. I'm trying to take him off mute. He got himself muted. But, okay, good now, I think. You there, bro? But we're going to go ahead. Probably got a little technical difficulties. We're going to get off into the video. And,
hello, can you hear me?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, we hear you now, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you, Brother Muse.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
They went back on mute. Yeah, we just got a little technical I tell you what, bro, just go ahead and try to, go out and come back in, and probably just a little technical difficulties. But we heard you for a minute, but we, you couldn't hear us apparently.
Our other big story, court was in session today in the murder trial of Karmelo Anthony. Anthony is accused of killing 17-year-old
I'm gonna change devices
at a Frisco track meet last year. Prosecutors rested their case this afternoon, so the defense began calling witnesses. Cameras are not allowed in the courtroom, but Fox 4's Alex Boyer was there today and picks up the story from there.
It's been a very long week for everyone involved in this case. The judge chose to hold another full day of testimony on a Saturday. I can tell you that a key witness burst into tears on the witness stand, and the prosecution rested its case just before 3 p.m., calling fewer witnesses than expected. Now it's the defense's turn to present its case. Another emotional day of testimony inside the Collin County courtroom, where 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony is on trial for the murder of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf.
Eddie immediately starts crying. The attorney goes up there and gives him Kleenex.
Court TV anchor Cody Thomas has been inside the courtroom watching the testimony. Thomas is talking about 18-year-old Eddie Parra. He was the Memorial High School student the defense maintains was the reason Anthony was at the Memorial High School 10th that fateful day. The defense has referred to Parra as Anthony's friend. But when questioned...
Now, we could kind of pause that right there. What do you think about... We just found this out, that Karmelo said that he went under the tent to, speak to a friend that he knew from that particular school that Austin went to. And then that friend actually testified for the prosecution as a witness for the prosecution. What do you think about that, sir?
Well, just listening as to what a lot of the factual journalists that was taking notes in the courtroom, based off of what he stated, he knew him. But it was not like it was one of the things where, like the defense was trying to make it seem as though, oh, well, I saw him over there. And so he was a friend. And so I went over there and basically, like he knew him very well. Now, when they did cross-examine, the defense cross-examined him, they did ask him, hey, so you say you only knew him in passing, and he and the Eddie guy said, well, I knew him, but he also knew Austin as well. He said, but you know, he didn't. They didn't hang out like that. He said that I think they may have hung out because of Carmelo's girlfriend,
Yeah,
no, the
girlfriend.
ex-girlfriend, mother, or something of that
Yeah,
nature.
it's like a mutual.
Mutual, yes.
Yeah, mutual friend through Carmelo's girlfriend type situation. So yeah, I seen you because my family cool with your girl family type situation. So we bumped
Right.
heads a few times, and but you know, I don't know you all like that. I don't know you like that, you know.
Right, like that. But then the defense also brought in a few pictures, you know, to say, well, I saw you at he was at your house a time or two, or he was at, you know, like, you know, in a 50th party, a birthday party that you were at. And he said, yeah, he said that, you know, he knew him, but he wasn't, like, they were trying to make it appear like that was one of his really good friends, and, you know, whatever. He said whenever he saw him and he came into the tent, they dapped it up, you know, like, hey, you know, or whatever. He said, but then he also stated, you know, that Carmelo was the aggressor. He said that.
Right.
He stated that he was the aggressor, meaning he was provoking Austin. He said, and I think it was either him or several other witnesses stated that it wasn't just Austin that asked him to leave. You know, all of the guys there was saying he needed to leave. You know, he needed to leave the tent, and he just refused to leave. And again, we have to make this clear because they trying to make this thing about race, but the witnesses, the 6 witnesses that testified, 4 of them was black.
That the coach was black. Now that's another thing that people got to understand. Like these people in this particular community, they not tripping off no racism with each other. The coach basically told Austin to be like a protector of the team while he's not around. And his coach is black. His coach also testified and said that, yeah, I told Austin to make sure it wasn't nobody, you know, that the team was all together, and that, you know, I made him assume that position as a leader. So Austin felt like it was his duty to ask Carmelo to leave, or be the one that would, you know, be the protector in that. He's like team captain. So, you know, while people trying to make it about a racial issue, and like you said, sis, the other people that was under the tent, that was Austin's classmates, you know, people that was on the team were black kids that testified. And I thought that was very interesting that a lot of people not that pointing that out.
And a lot of people are saying too, and I guess that's probably why Austin was the one to take the lead, because it was given to him. Now you had the others around him that was asking him to leave, but the coach did say that he texted Austin and told him he needed him to step up. And the reason for that, like we've said before, my son has ran track before, so therefore a lot of those kids have their personal belongings up under their tents. Okay, so things that they have up on there, and again, he said, the coach said that it was at their school, I guess at their track or whatever. So therefore, he was running around, so he needed somebody to supervise it. So he left Austin in charge. So now that kills the narrative of what a lot of people have been saying. Well, you just don't. Well, he was given that role. You understand? His coach gave him that role to step in, because he wasn't, you know, he was busy doing other things, you know, doing, you know, getting set up for the track meet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that just lets you know what a tight-knit community this was. Like, these kids wasn't tripping on that. Race wasn't an issue. But see, what people have made this situation so racialized, and we're going to get to that, is the fact that, and I think we could take this one down because I think this video pretty much served this purpose, is that, you know, we as a country have come a long way, but a lot of us want to stay stuck in a certain place of time where we were worse off. Can we not acknowledge the fact that if this was back in the days where these people, you know, tend to think America is stuck at racially, that if a black boy even whistled at a white woman, they would have. You would think like they would have went to Karmelo house, burned crosses outside his window. The KKK would have came in and dragged him out and hung him that day for even, looking at a white man the wrong way. But this boy has given due process in court. He has been given a bond, has had a bond reduction, able to be at home the whole process. So can we at least acknowledge the advancement that we have made in this country racially?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the time, it was like that, where you couldn't even, but now, we have all type of advancements that I think are being unnoticed or not recognized enough.
Well, I don't think they want to be recognized. People just like, and I say this, it's sad, and people could get mad all they want, but a lot of our people culturally, we don't want to move. We want to be stuck on something that ain't even existing anymore. Okay. Exactly. And I'm not saying that, there's not, racism doesn't exist, but we got to acknowledge how racist that our people can be as well. Okay. And that's just the truth. We can be very racist. We can say what we want to say. We can call people out their name. But then if somebody call you out your name, it's a problem. So it's like we don't want to move past that. We're content. It's like people are just stuck, and a lot of people are stuck on something from their ancestors. From our ancestors. They're not. A lot of people haven't even experienced a lot of this stuff a day in their life. If anything, they don't experience it from whites. They just experience it from the people that look just like them.
Exactly, and I think it's and to expand on what you're saying, sis. I think that it's a slap in the face to our ancestors to not acknowledge that growth. Everything that they went to was to sacrifice for us to have a better experience here in this country. So
what else I wanted to touch on too real quick before I forget. Now the jury, they was making this, they politicized this about the jury pool, right? Oh, there was not any blacks on there and da 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 da. Well, guess what? When I was listening to Judge Joe Brown, he said, and he made very good sense, where when you got Frisco, a town like Frisco, where it's 54% white. The other race is the population or the, race, it may be Hispanics. You got maybe 12 to 13% black. Okay, when you take that, and they had 600 jurors, right? And it's not like a lot of the jurors that they they question, with their questionnaire. A lot of the jurors, black jurors, they were very biased. They basically stated that if I am selected, that they couldn't see putting a brother in jail. That's what one said. Another one said, well, I can't see because he's so young and he black. I can't see him going to jail. Well, then, you already going in biased.
Right. This
it's not
case.
like
that. You can't have any biases in this, whether it be race, whether it be gender, whether it be anything, age. You cannot have a bias to be on a jury of a murder case, any case, especially this one.
So they eliminated themselves. And I feel like they eliminated themselves because a lot of times they do that on purpose because they don't want to be a part of that. Do you understand? Because there's no way you're going to go and, in your questionnaires and they questioning you and you saying, well, I can't see putting a brother in jail. So for all these people that's out there speaking and talking about, oh, well, we don't have any, well, they eliminated themselves. They was very biased and that was brought out too. So, and it's not an all white jury. That's the thing. I was listening to a reporter yesterday that covered the Diddy's case, and I think I sent it to you. He said it was maybe 2 white jurors on that trial, jurors doing that for that trial. It's not like it, it like everybody's trying to paint it. But I've said they're leading this. That all that what you call that acting and the paid actresses and actors that's out there in front of that courthouse just acting a fool.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
they're doing that. They're doing that on purpose. They were all,
yeah.
a lot of them are paid. They're paid to be distractors. You know, and I told you, you got those jurors that like it's not a sequestered jury. They're not sequestered, so therefore they have to go. They come out every day. You know, they get to go home. You know,
Exactly.
so it's not like it's sequestered. So therefore, you know, you going out, you seeing all this. They know what they're doing. They know that this boy, 9 times out of 10, he probably will be found guilty. Now, I told you, if he's not found guilty, my beliefs is because of this being so politicized. I'm telling you. I just that and I'll stand on that. I'm not gonna say that they're not going to find him not that he will be found guilty. Because I told you where I stand on that. I believe
we go back
he
and forth
is.
about this every day, you know.
We go about back and forth with this every day. But you know, like I told you, I'm with you. I'm with everything that when me and you talked about this. I told you, I'm like, bro, I'm with you on that. But you gotta keep in mind the way the temperature is right now in the country. It wouldn't be because of, you know what I'm saying, there's no evidence or anything to prove beyond that this was not self-defense. It's clear. I mean, the Texas law, it basically I mean, you can't just tap. If you push somebody, that does not justify for you standing the ground to stab somebody and, you know, to unalive them and, you know, basically butcher them. And I mean, I'm saying their heart. You know, he stabbed this boy in his heart.
It's elements to murder one. It's elements to manslaughter. See, it's a lot of ignorance to the law. And every state is different, and we're gonna get to that. Yes. In this particular situation, and I've expressed to you all the time, I think that, and I see what you're saying, the political pressure of it and the racial overtones of it, you know, could make you one think that, yeah, they probably would fold to you know, the jury they expose. But it's two elements. It's a few elements, but one is equal force. Like if someone tap you or push you, now they will argue that the actual witnesses have had discrepancies in their stories, whether it was a push, whether it was a tap, who was standing where, was Austin's brother Hunter, where was he located? But two things are evident in all of their stories is that Austin never hit him with a closed fist. It was barely a push or a tap or a shove. So it was not a situation where it was a life or death force coming from Austin. It was a push, a tap, whatever. And another thing is nobody jumped him. If somebody jumped him, these are the people that was under the tent that have testified. They weren't involved. So you don't have a case as far as equal force, or you don't have a case where someone jumped him. Now, the rest of the stuff is whatever. It was a chaotic situation, and these are young adults, so they may not, you know, it's chaotic, so they may have forgotten certain things that they said or all, you know. But the thing that rings clear is that his life was not threatened. Now, when you look at this from a unbiased viewpoint, this was an unfortunate situation, but it was not worth this young boy's life. And I think that that's what people, you know, with all the racial over and undertones, with everything else, if that young man touched this other young man on the shoulder or pushed him, it gave no justification to plunge a knife in his chest and take his life.
No. And I said, that's why I say, like, now instead of, you know, people just make, you know, trying to politicize this, and I keep it, and I've said this before, like Karmelo Anthony, I'm pretty sure that young man, every day he thinking, every second, if I didn't let my ego get in the way, if I did not allow my testosterone to just get in the way of it, because I told you before, I'm like, you know what, bro? if they really go back and start looking at like the tape, that probably like not, and I wouldn't say tape. If they go back and probably subpoena his records, like it's almost like this young man was pissed off about something before he even got to that track meet. I don't know what it was, because there's nothing that should piss you off. I can see if Austin was up under their tent. That's like me and you discussed. I said that's just like you coming into my home, okay? Because mind you, this is a school. This is their, their little possession as far as the tent or whatever. So that's basically like their little home space, right? So if you coming into my home and you to leave, I mean, leave. You understand? Like it's that at that point, that's if you ask me, that's what led to a lot of the things that, in my opinion, that transpired. Because, and I told you too, I'm like, well, maybe if Karmelo would have said, hey, bro, is it okay if I come up under the tent for a little bit, and let him tell you yes or no? Because at that moment, he was in charge. But for you to take it upon yourself, that's like a bully itself. You coming into somebody else's space and I ain't going nowhere. But yet and still, they're saying that Austin was the bully. Like, who? Wait, now you can't say that Austin was the bully when Karmelo went up on a tent that did not belong to him. Now, granted, do I feel like it should have been to the point where, but he was left in charge. What would a coach have said if he was there? Would he have left it to coach asked him to leave, or would he took out a knife and plunged him?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's like at some point, all this is just nonsense with people trying to make it appear as though this boy was jumped and like me and you talked earlier. When have you ever known any black kid to ever be scared of a white kid? Let's be real.
Thank you. Let's keep it real now. Let's keep it real now.
If anything, black people always feel like they had the advantage over, and because we, I'm just being honest, we always thought we could, now when it come down our own, we might have a little fear in them because we feel like, we're a little more aggressive, but we've always thought, we don't, so when has it ever been about weight or size or anything of that nature? You understand? It's like, to me, they're just making, and they know that this young man is going to, in my opinion, it's going to be hard. And I told you, the only way I feel like that he would get off of this is the publicity that's behind it, the temperature of the country right now, and how they're pushing this agenda. Like, that's my only reasoning for feeling like he will get, he may be found not guilty. But I mean, based off of the witnesses and the testimonies and the people that, that was there to witness it, outside of all of, the hearsay, and then people got to be careful with the bloggers that they listening to, a lot of them, because what they're doing, and I told you, they're setting the tone and they're setting the stage if this boy is not found guilty. That's why they coming back giving you misinformation. Oh, you seen one guy, oh, I was in there and I seen the tape. They said it, I seen all 4 of them jumping. When he know that was a lie. There's no tape stating that this young boy was jumped by no 4. Nothing at all. But again, it's just the information that's being fed because they know it's emotions. They get, you got a lot of people that's for this. They thinking he was defending himself, and and so therefore these boys I'm still hearing that. I had to tell somebody yesterday that's not the case. You guys are getting misinformation that he was never jumped. So that's been, they've already, the witnesses have shut that down. But again, I told you, I really hate that this case was not open. Like, it wasn't cameras in there, because a lot of this stuff, that's why you got people coming back bringing misinformation, and you got a lot of people out there in front of the courthouse making all this racket and calling each other names and doing all this other stuff, and they're doing it because they're paid. This is something that keeps emotions high. You understand? And it's like, this is the saddest thing, because you using this boy's death. His parents already going through enough because they done lost their child. One side of the parents, which is Karmelo parents, they don't know if they gonna lose their child to the system. Do you understand what I'm saying? Simply because of the mistake, what he's made, the mistake that he has made. So a lot of these other people are just really getting paid off of this as if this is entertainment, and to keep, people in an uproar. That's basically what it is.
Exactly. And I'm going to get to some more content here, and at any moment we can stop it and elaborate on it.
Justice Department says that the Southern Poverty Law Center went to secretly fund extremist groups over the span of nearly a decade. In an updated version of the indictment handed up by a grand jury this week, the Department of Justice claims the civil rights group gave $4.1 million in tax-exempt donor funds to informants in extremist groups, even including the Ku Klux Klan. The SPLC strongly denies the allegation, saying the government is, quote, blatantly mischaracterizing its efforts to fight hatred. News Nation investigative correspondent Rich McHugh joins us now. Rich, what is this new superseding indictment that was just released this week? What does it say?
Hi, Elizabeth. Well, first of all, it's almost hard to believe the initial indictment and now the superseding indictment. The Department of Justice basically accusing Southern Poverty Law Center of using millions in donor funds to essentially pay KKK informants and even reimbursing them for burnings, among other things. We sat down with acting Attorney General Todd Blanche and the director of the FBI to ask them about it. Take a look.
The SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred.
It was a shocking allegation. In April, the Department of Justice charged the Southern Poverty Law Center, whose stated mission is dismantling white supremacy and confronting hate, with paying white supremacist groups using donor money.
Now I want to stop that right there. Shout out to Brother Noobs in the building. Man, welcome back, bro. Appreciate you coming through. For people that don't know, the SPC, Southern Poverty Law Center, is supposed to be an anti-racism group in the South that was created back in the 1970s to combat racism in America. But what we have found under this administration is that they have been actually paying white supremacist groups to keep racism alive. They've been paying the KKK. They've been paying the neo-Nazis. They've been paying all these alleged white supremacist groups to basically manufacture racism. So back to your point, as far as, the people politicizing this thing, you have a whole political party that is funding the manufacturing of racism. If racism was out here in the capacity that they saying it is, why would you have to pay? You have to think about this. You have an anti-racial group paying racists to promote racism. So, I mean, this is unprecedented. Millions of dollars going to extremist groups for them to go out here and burn crosses and do protests, in the name of racism. So I'm just trying to understand something, sis. Like, go ahead and talk to me.
Well, I told you before, a lot of this stuff has been manufactured. I mean, racism now is, in my opinion, it just goes to show you it's watered down. You have to go and pay and pay for it now, because we're in we're in 2026 now. And I'm not saying throughout, maybe sometimes systematically, like through the system, sometimes it can be prejudiceness and racism, that it still exists. But what I'm saying is the way that they are trying to make it appear as if 95% of the country is just racist, like, and that's just it. Going back to the group that's at that trial with Karmelo, I told you Ain't no telling who funding them. Because when you look at it, I'm looking at all these people from a lens now to say all of them are actors and actresses. All they do is gaslight people. You understand? They gaslight because they know people are emotional. You understand? And then they use white liberals. They the worst. Yes. White liberals are the worst. Okay. What they do is they have, they make it appear as if we still, we still up under Jim Crow. We still, and that's not the case. But again, a lot of these activists, I told you, I'm not going to stop talking about them, that's been marching for 60 and 70 years. They're the problem. They're the problem because they get paid. It's big money in racism. It's big money in division.
Yes.
Big money in it. They don't want us to come together. They like it just like they like this. It caused division. I mean, hopefully you got that video of that guy that was outside of Karmelo outside the courthouse doing this trial, and even down to the Jake guy, the one that's the Jew guy. All this stuff, these people are paid. They are paid big money to keep this rhetoric going. And you got people, black people, we emotional, that are emotionally driven by it. They don't care. And a lot of times they don't want to hear. They don't care. They don't care. They don't want to hear it. Like some people don't want healing. They don't want to move forward. They don't want togetherness. But yet and still they don't want togetherness. But then again, like I told you before, and I keep saying it, our culture is the highest when it comes down to crime, committing crime against each other. It's not no white man killing us like that.
Thank you. It's us.
And until we take accountability and stop this foolishness and stop promoting this stuff, like that's why we keep losing our kids by the wayside, because you got a lot of parents that's sitting up here and older people, just as well as we see as these people out there that's paid at Karmelo Anthony's trial. That's why. It's those people that's the problem.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's people out here, and I'm gonna roll this clip of Karmelo Anthony supporters. They don't even care about the facts of the case. They just said, well, he black and we standing with him, right? That's a dangerous mentality. You know what I'm saying? And what it says is, we don't want to advance as a nation. We want to be stuck in this reality that we never even experienced ourselves, but we want to be stuck there to be a habitual victim of something that we never experienced. It's a very fascinating dynamic on the road, this clip. And shout out to the content creator, Cinema Shogun. But watch this here. This is outside of the courthouse of Karmelo Anthony's trial.
He was not an aggressor. Karmelo was not an aggressor. He was minding his damn business when the boys came up to him.
Ghetto black women and gay black dudes, they both have this thing where they feel as if they just clap their hands over and over again. They can say the most retarded thing you've ever heard in your life, but still be correct. They think clapping their hands like a seal makes them right. Well, I'm here to tell you that.
Hey, I ain't gonna hold you though. Black people, we do that though. We be when we get in our mall. What you talking about?
And it's the stupidest thing ever. It took this man to realize to break that dog to make us like to see just how stupid that is. Like she doing all that beat and it sounded so dumb out there. You know, like
that you're wrong, bitch. And I'm sorry.
I gotta take this back, man. He said, but that you're wrong, bitch.
Ever heard in your life, but still be correct. They think clapping their hands like a seal makes them right. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong, bitch. And I'm sorry for cussing. I try not to cuss too much on this channel. But the media isn't going to call this stuff out. Most people in general are not going to call this stuff out, and we all know why. That's why you need people like me to call this stuff out, because this is not okay. This mentality should not have been allowed to fester and spread in the way that it has. So look, you guys know that YouTube absolutely hates it when I make videos like this, calling out this kind of behavior. And you know the Karmelo Anthony supporters are going to be harassing me for weeks on end because of this video. So please show some love and some support, even if it's simply just hitting the thumbs up button. That goes a long way to help the channel. But if you guys would like to donate or something along those lines, you know how. You could always donate Cash App or Super Thanks. Like I said, look, YouTube hates it when I talk about stuff like this. They want this Karmelo Anthony story. They want to use this story to cause massive race riots again in this country. They want this to be their George Floyd 2.0. They want another summer of love. They want another summer of Black Lives Matter riots. And the media, I just feel like the media isn't doing their full job in covering this story, because you can't cover this story while ignoring all of the racist nonsense that is going on outside the courtroom with these people, you know, chanting and basically in the streets calling for the death of white people. That has been happening over the last couple of days, and the media is basically silent about it. Yeah, there are some independent people out there on the ground documenting this stuff, but the media is silent as always. But luckily for us, the trial is ongoing. So we no longer have to speculate about what happened. And we don't have to get our information from ghetto booty-shaking hand clappers outside the courthouse. We actually get to hear from witnesses who were there that day. We get to hear from other young kids who were at that track meet right there when Karmelo stabbed Austin Metcalf. And they have been testifying. And I can tell you right now, not a single one of them has said anything that will work in Karmelo Anthony's favor. Karmelo Anthony is getting absolutely destroyed in court. For lack of better words, he's getting destroyed. He's getting cooked. He's getting obliterated. That self-defense argument is getting literally dismantled. Now, I want you guys to hear a little bit of this testimony. Obviously, cameras and microphones are not allowed in the courtroom, so we have to get our information from journalists who were allowed in the courtroom. Mary Ann Martinez is one of those journalists. Let's see what she documented. We are back in court for the afternoon session in the Karmelo Anthony trial. The judge just asked the media not to identify upcoming witnesses who are minors. We were not told who the minors are or who they will be testifying to. A 17-year-old Memorial High School male athlete is now testifying. We have been told not to give his name. He had been hanging out with Austin on the day of the stabbing. He also runs track for Memorial. He was under the tent with Austin Metcalf. Teen is saying several people confronted Karmelo Anthony and told him to leave the tent. Austin, another boy, and he were all among the Memorial High School students who told Anthony to leave. I remember it getting more aggressive, the teen said. I remember Karmelo refusing to leave. Then Austin asked him to leave. Anthony said, "Touch me and find out," the boy recalled. Boy says Karmelo was asked to leave about 15 times by Austin and several others. He says that no one, and this is important because Karmelo Anthony supporters have been spreading these rumors. He says that no one ganged up on Karmelo and didn't think a fight was going to break out. He thought that at the most there might be some minor pushing. Teen says this went on for 2 minutes and adds that both Austin and Karmelo were angry at this point. Boy says Karmelo provoked Austin, or was provoking Austin. Austin pushed Karmelo, and then Karmelo stabbed him. He added that the knife came from a backpack in Karmelo's lap. During the back and forth between Karmelo and Austin, Karmelo had his hands in the backpack. The boy said, after the stabbing, Karmelo threw the knife up the bleachers and then ran away. Boy said he did not expect the stabbing at all. Austin fell onto the bleacher onto his back, and then he got up and went against the fence and guardrail with his chest all bloody. Oh my God, the boy said. The boy called the ambulance at that point. The prosecutor asked the boy how hard Austin pushed Karmelo. Boy said it was somewhere in between a light shove and a hard shove. Hunter was at the bottom of the tent and was not involved in this. Boy denies anyone ganged up on Karmelo. My friend's bleeding everywhere, the boy can be heard saying in a 911 call that he placed. You can also hear lots of people shouting in the background in general chaos. Under cross-examination, the boy reveals that Karmelo Anthony wasn't even under the tent. He was sitting on the bleacher just above or north of the tent. What was the problem with that, the defense attorney asked the boy, since Karmelo wasn't under the tent? The boy responds, relative area. He says that they were told to keep kids from other schools away from the general area of their tent. The boy testifies that the exchange went on for about 2 minutes. Anthony arriving at the tent and being asked to leave. When others asked Karmelo to leave and he refused, Anthony became angry. Then both Austin and Karmelo became heated as their exchange went on. Here's the bombshell. Under cross-examination, the boy was asked to show how the shove happened between Austin and Karmelo. Boy and defense attorney stand up to role-play the shove in front of the jury. Boy stated Karmelo is sitting on a bleacher with his hands in his backpack. Other kids are calling his bluff, saying that they didn't believe that Karmelo had anything in his backpack. When Austin moved to shove or push Karmelo, Karmelo pulled the knife from his backpack and plunged it into Austin's chest. It was all part of the same motion. So right off the bat, one of the main arguments Karmelo Anthony's supporters have been trying to use is that Karmelo Anthony was just a good boy. He didn't do nothing wrong. He was just trying to get out of the ring. And that's why he sat underneath the tent. Now, we've already heard in court that it was not even really raining at that moment when this exchange happened. We've now heard that Karmelo wasn't even sitting directly under the tent, so he was not trying to get out of the rain. He was sitting in the team area, though. So all of that, Karmelo was trying to escape the rain. That is BS. We now know that. So that argument completely debunked and destroyed. The bombshell from that testimony, though, was when they tried to recreate the motion of Austin pushing Karmelo and Karmelo stabbing Austin. The reason this is such a bombshell is because during the recreation of this moment, basically it was revealed that everything happened in the same motion. So Austin didn't push Karmelo, and then Karmelo gets pushed, pulls out the knife, and stabs Austin. No. In the same motion, as Austin is moving in to push Karmelo, Karmelo is already pulling out the knife to plunge it in Austin's chest. So there was not a register of, oh my God, I just got pushed, I'm in danger. No, immediately in the same motion, he's stabbing Austin.
Okay, we can stop that right there. And like Noob
So
said,
you know what?
that's
Oh,
premeditated.
go ahead. Yeah, I was gonna tell you too. Just listening at what he said, and I'm sitting up here in my mind thinking when they said that it happened every bit of 2 minutes. That lets you know right there, because typically you got to in your bag, you got to, you got to fill it around or something to find. You understand? You got a backpack. You know what I'm saying? You got your gear in there for your shorts, and I'm pretty sure your cleats and all this other stuff. So you got to fill around for that. Like that alone itself, if you can go directly to a knife, you go, that's the first thing that you go through to. That's, you don't have to feel, and you do that. That's now it makes sense why they are saying premeditated, because that was already in his mind. You understand? Because mind you, that lets you know. I'm sitting up here just thinking about this thing. If this young man, right, if it was just like this argument or a hard push or something, like it's just one of them things where it's like that boy was standing there and he didn't even see this coming, because it was like they say, probably like a light push, or it was just a push, like move out the way. Because I've heard too that they were saying that you had one say he kind of like tried to get him to move him out, like go get out. And then somebody said when he tapped him on the shoulder, or or pushed him, like kind of pushed him on the shoulder or whatever. So that lets you know he was already ready. That was already, he was ready.
Mm-hmm.
He had that in his hand at that very moment, ready. That's why I say it's something far beyond that. Before that boy hit that track, something was off. Whatever happened at home that morning, whatever happened between him going to the track and that, something.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just that push with Austin. This come from something else. Do you understand?
Yeah, he definitely had to have a chip on his shoulder to even be on that type of time. It's like, all right, I'm getting into it with this dude over something petty about a seat. He had so many different options to avoid.
So many, and then for people to say, he had several options to leave. One, if you a track star, just as fast as you ran when you poked him, why didn't you run that fast and run from up under that tent? Mm-hmm. Okay, you had that option. You had the option too. Okay, well, let me go get. You also had the option to be like, hey, bro, is it okay if I stay up under the tent? Is it okay, that I can stay up under the tent? It's almost like they say he came with an attitude. Do you understand? If Austin didn't get it that day, somebody was going to get it. He was already on one. He was already on one. Don't nobody go from 0 to 100 that quick within 2 minutes. You just don't, that don't happen. That's some build up.
Yeah.
Just think about it. If you go out to a club somewhere, right? 9 times out of 10, most people that get into it, they be done went back and forth with each other, or they be done had some type of, it be something heated, or it be something, exchange between them, or it's a rival. But it's just hard for me to believe at that very moment with this young man that it was something it just snapped. Within 2 minutes. And then they basically said too that the brother, I think he might have walked off because he didn't feel like he needed to, it wasn't that serious, So I'm pretty sure nobody saw that coming. That's like this boy had, I'm telling you, and again, you never know what these kids be going, just because he got a 3.7 great GPA and he this and he that don't mean nothing. What was going on at home? What was going on in his mind with a girl? What was going on? I'm just saying, because Austin, a push did not cause you to plunge nobody in the heart, bro.
Yeah. And by all accounts, we're not trying to demonize Karmelo. Like,
no,
I believe
that's not demonizing him. I'm just saying something something happened, something before that.
Yeah.
And I told you that. I'm like, I just don't see it just being that moment. It's like you come, okay? I'm on the opposite team, and I'm go over there and I'm just gonna see it. True enough, they say it was drizzling rain. So he might have was trying to, let me go and see where I could just sit to try to get out before it start raining. Maybe if it start pouring down, let me go up under this tent or go sit somewhere, whatever the case may be. Maybe he was already upset, because you can tell he probably was already upset when he got there.
Mm-hmm.
He was already upset about something. And we see that a lot. Look at the world we living in right now. You can be your day could be perfect. Okay, you can have your day could be going good, but somebody else, because of what they going through, they gonna make you feel the wrath too because of what they going through. You ain't got nothing to do with it. Do you understand? Nothing. Nothing. We see that every day. That's the temperature we living in right now. Somebody mad about something. I don't even know what they mad about, but here they is taking it out on me. I ain't did nothing before. You know it. You the problem. When that problem didn't start with you, it started before they even attempted to talk to you. I really feel like that's exactly what happened in this situation with Karmelo. I feel like he was upset. Do I feel like the boy meant to? I don't feel like that was the intent to do it. But I feel like whatever it was, that he was on the edge about something. He was on the edge about something. And that alone, going over there in that tent, and you tell me to move. What you mean tell me to move? I'm still saying, let me get up. Any person that ain't on one, you understand, and ain't on the edge, they ain't taking it like, oh, well, who he think he is or whatever. Most of the time, they gonna get up. All right, well, they gonna get up and leave. Or they gonna say, well, man, can I chill for a minute? It's about to rain, or whatever the case may be. Something. They just not gonna say, I ain't going nowhere. You move me. That's somebody that was already upset about something.
Exactly.
Already upset.
Already. And it's unfortunate.
That's what people probably don't want to acknowledge. They just thinking like, no, he was already, I don't know what was going on with this young man. In his mind, I don't know. And I really feel sorry for him. And I feel sorry for him in a sense because of just how the enemy just used him in that very moment.
Mm-hmm.
In that very moment. And it was like he allowed him to use him in that moment, and he ended somebody's life. Like, people, I don't think people understand, instead of them making this about this and that. No, this should be a moment to teach kids how to handle confrontation, how to handle like conflict. What's conflict resolution? You understand? Like, it should be something instead of, oh, this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, people got to learn how to have self-control. Period. And they can say all day that, well, he should have self-control. Self-control started whenever you went to that tent. Okay? That's where your self-control should have kicked in and said, well, let me go, because this ain't my team. Then you can hear somebody say, well, Austin should have had self-control. I can agree with that. I can agree that Austin at that moment, and a young man, you ain't thinking you finna but at the end of the day, should he have probably went and got a coach? Probably so. But he thinking at the end of the day, the coach left him in charge. So that's why I say it's a lot of hurt people in this situation, because his coach, the way that man testified, he said he still texts Austin's phone like, bro, I'm sorry. Like, he feel responsible for that. He probably didn't think Austin would take it to the extent of going there to really take it there, and you know what I'm saying, like, just to move him out the way. But and again, most of this is like, okay, well, you push, you shove. Kids do that because that's how I'm looking at them as kids. I'm not even looking at them as adults that is functioning like a 25, 26-year-old. Even if they was 22 to 23, the mind is not fully developed until you 25.
Exactly.
It's like even down to that. And I'm saying this should be a moment where it's like a togetherness. It should be a moment to where I think what made me mad the most is the disrespect towards that Metcalf family. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not looking at this because these people are white or these people are black. I'm looking at how these people done made this thing about race when this man done lost his child. And anybody can say whatever they want to say. If it was somebody else's child that was lost other than Mr. Mack, they wouldn't be having that tone. Having that. The first thing they'll say is, you know, they should have just fought it out. You understand what I'm saying? If you take that L, you take that L. You know, we got to put the guns down. We got to put the pew-pews down. We got to, won't they just start fighting it out? Well, why it couldn't apply to him? But again, I'm telling you, this is a white and black thing. If that kid was black, I can guarantee you nobody would be saying that. They would probably be saying they should have fought it out. Why he had to do this or why he had to do that. But for him, he don't get that pass because he white. That's sad to me. And I stand behind that.
And I'm gonna say that before I play this next clip, and how you eloquently just explain that whole scenario, with where we at as a culture in this country. This is actually the opportunity to be a teachable moment for the youth with conflict resolution. And how we can use this as an example for young people of what not to do and what to do in a situation where if the grown people, where are the grown people? Please stand up and show where the growth is. Like, okay, this is what you don't do, young man, young woman. You don't, meet conflict with violence. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. If someone asks you to move from that area, just move around. And that's how you avoid situations like this. Now, what they're doing is making excuses for dysfunctional behavior. This is dysfunctional.
And that's why we will continue to bury our children at a young age. Because look at what they're pushing. This should be, like you said, a moment where everybody is saying, you know what, at this point, this ain't what we do. Instead, you got people saying, keep your hands to yourself. You keep your hands to you. And I'm thinking to myself, shut up. Because your baby daddy probably just slapped the crap out of you and you didn't poke him, or your baby mama just slapped you out. That's what I'm saying. All the hypocrisy. Just hush with it. Because at the end of the day, I teach my children, that I always taught them, okay, you keep your hands to yourself. Okay, other people should keep their hands to themselves too. But if it get to the point with you come tell me. You understand? It shouldn't be to the point where if somebody push you, you got to pull out something. I know I may not always be around, but as an adult, you handle things like an adult. As a child, that's where you get an adult to step in. And again, you're going to have people to say, well, that's what Austin should have did. He should have went and got somebody to step in too. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I am disagreeing with, a push, call somebody a something to the heart.
Yeah, you don't take it.
People every day that push and fight and carry on and do all this and that you had to go to that extent. You wasn't in fear of that boy 10, 15 pounds. You wasn't in fear of that, because if you was in fear, you had fear. When you in fear of something, you get your behind on somewhere. Okay? I'm not finna sit up there and go back.
You ain't gonna say, touch me and see what happened. That's not a fearful person.
Touch me and see what happened. Because my thing is, that boy probably was thinking, touch me and see what happened. He probably thinking to himself, touch me and say, okay, touch you. Okay, what you want to do? You understand? Then there was also a key witness that stated that Austin said on the that stated, like, bro, I'm not about to fight you, him.
Yeah.
Witness that said that. So at the end of the day, I think it was more so, it was probably tested, like him thinking, being the protector, not thinking like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's the protector. You understand? That's just like my children, my son. He feel like he's my protector. And if somebody, you know what I'm saying, come or they want, he feel like even though he's younger than me, he's still my protector. So that's the way the coach said, well, Austin and the young boys and the witnesses said that's how Austin was. He was the protector of that tent. So it's like, for all the excuses people making, I don't care. I can guarantee you Karmelo wished a million days that day, whatever he had on his mind, whatever he was pissed off about, or whatever. I guarantee you he probably wished, man, I should have just went back home. Or man, I should have just not even went on that team. I should have just left.
Mm-hmm.
So all the people that's this is crazy.
Yeah. I want to play this clip to show some more. Before we get to the next subject and wrap this whole thing up with Karmelo, I want to get off into some more clips of the people that have been, you know, outside the courtroom and some of the ridiculous behavior. And this, once again, shout out to the content creator, Cinema Shogun.
Okay, y'all, so I just noticed this headline, baby-faced Karmelo Anthony heads to court to stand trial for murder. Now, one thing that I forgot to report to you guys yesterday, because I did get to go inside the courthouse and I was watching the live stream of the jury selection, is that Karmelo Anthony has since shaved his head, so he even looks younger than he does in this photo. On top of that, let's not forget that his lawyer is going to be referring to him for the duration of this trial as Mello, a nickname that his lawyer states his friends and family know him by. So not only has Karmelo drastically changed his appearance with that shaved head, again, making him look much younger, but his lawyer also going to be referring to him as Mello for the duration of this trial. By the way, you have the Karmelo supporters, which I'm sure you can hear behind me. They were just chanting that they love their Black youth and they deserve protection too. I am live on the ground for opening arguments of the Karmelo Anthony trial.
That was Savannah Hernandez. She's been at the courthouse for the Karmelo Anthony trial. So be sure to go follow her on social media because she's actually in the room getting us the details. Now, those are some of the tricks that I was warning you guys about in previous videos. It's clear that they're doing whatever they can to make Karmelo Anthony look as young as possible. From what I'm hearing, he looks younger now than he did when he killed Austin Metcalf. They have shaved his head, so he no longer has the dreads, the twisties, whatever you want to call it. He's clean shaven. And from what Sarah Fields said yesterday, when Karmelo Anthony entered into the courtroom, from what she says, he has an oversized suit that makes him look even younger, kind of like the Little Rascals effect. So he doesn't have a form-fitting suit. It looks like it's too big for him. You know, it's another little trick they're using to make him look younger. And they've also given him a smaller chair than most of the other people there. So it's just another way that they can make him look small, to make him look younger and
push you right into that grave.
Oh, push you right into that grave. Oh, nice.
Heard what I said, Cracker. Neanderthal, I don't give a fuck what you say. Y'all get up. You, Cracker.
Cracker?
Get out of the road, please. Get out of the road, please.
If you're going to say it, at least say the hard R. Cracker.
You a cracker, motherfucker. You a cracker. You a cracker. He a cracker. You a cracker.
Saltine works too.
They've been trying to get me, Cracker. You ain't gonna get me, Cracker. I'm gonna push you if I can.
Seems that the hate is a little bit one-sided in this interaction here. What do you guys think? I mean, this is exactly why this case blew up. You know, it's hyper-racialized. One side thinks that it's self-defense. The other side thinks it's cold-blooded murder. But let's be honest, guys. This guy right here gives a lot of Black folks a bad rap. It's the ghetto behavior, right? It really is about content of character. And I can tell you what, this guy's got shit content of character. Let me know what you guys think about this interaction in the comment section.
I've been trying to tell people for years that the most racist group of people in America is the Black community. And that doesn't...
Okay, now we just seen that, right? And we got Muse Black. He back on the panel with us, bro.
Bro, can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
It's not coming even through my headphones, bro. The enemy been trying to stop me from sharing what I'm trying to share. This is crazy. I've never experienced this.
Man, go ahead. Talk about it. Talk about it.
There's an old song by the gospel legendary group, who was one of my favorites, called Commissioned. I think it's on the Go Tell Somebody album. And one of the songs is called Love Isn't Love. In the song, the guys get to a part of the song where it says, love isn't love until you have given it away. He says further in the verse, you must reach way down in the bottom of your heart and give love away. Only the love of God himself can melt away the color line of all of that you've seen. Now, let me shift gears real fast. If you look at the second law of thermodynamics, and scientists, talking about scientists who don't believe in the Bible, who don't subscribe to any religious thing, they might do in their private life, you know, but that's not no shot at them. I'm making a point. They are studying what they do. They study the earth. They study the energy field going around the earth, the sun, the moon, the star, everything, the atmosphere, the ozone, the cosmos. This is what they do for a living. And paraphrasing, they are saying that the earth itself cannot sustain itself in the way that it's heading. In other words, what they're getting at is the earth is dying. It's dying. We're losing, the earth is losing energy. They talking about how the sun is even getting hotter. I'm talking about science. I ain't even talking about no Bible. I'm talking about what scientists are talking about. Researching with people ain't got nothing else to do. Now that I laid that foundation, what would you do if you were the enemy? And I yield back on this point so y'all can comment. What would you do if you was the enemy and you knew your time was short from what was pronounced with the fall in the Garden of Eden? See, earth live in time. They don't live in the enemy and all the fallen angels, all this wicked, this principality. They not bound by earth's time. So what would you do if you was an enemy of God to hinder his truth and his gospel of good news and love that he created all humanity valuable and precious in his sight? What would you do to counteract that among different cultures, different kindreds, different nations, different tongues of people? You would use words like race war. You play all the sides. You put every culture and ethnicity against one another. Because what is your ultimate goal? To prevent the good news of the gospel of love of God to go forth. You got to slow it down and hinder it in every facet you can. So you would create apostate nationalism. You have a result from the French Revolutionary War, which birthed out of that what? Secularism and atheism. I yield back.
That was good, Brother Muse. Yeah. Because you made a really good point. When the enemy know he got a short amount of time, that he working overtime, to be the brain as far as destruction go, and division. So you absolutely right about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that to expand on what you were saying, brother, like that's what's going on right now in this country, as far as this over obsession with racism, you know, among like people have, and I've spoken to Sister Blessed Girl about this several times, and I keep coming to the same conclusion that people have replaced the gospel of God with being the God of being black.
Right.
They have made blackness their God.
Right.
To the point of, do you think when we leave this fleshly, earthly realm, God is gonna, you know, does he care about our skin tone or how much melanin is it? When we go to what they call the upper room, is God gonna say, you know, is he gonna have is your judgment gonna be based on the color of your skin or the content of your character? Like when we think about all these different, you know, entities, you know, these in government, DEI, you know, people going crazy about DEI and things like that and the dismantlement of that. But that's anti what Martin Luther King Jr. was about. He said, it's like, don't judge me based off my color. Don't give me a position based off my color. Don't give me one. Don't take away nothing. Don't give me nothing or take away nothing based on my color, my creed, based on who I sleep with at night, based on my religion. Base it on the content of my character.
Right.
Merit based. Right. So what we're seeing now, the devil, the enemy has came in and convinced people that we are superior or inferior based on the complexion of our skin. And that is anti-God, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this case has exposed a lot of fallacies in our ideology as a result, as it relates to, you know, how we view ourselves and others. And I think that, you know, this particular case are two. Now, make no mistake, I think that both of these are two good kids. And Austin Metcalf, good kid, come from a good family. Karmelo Anthony, good kid, come from a good family. It was just an unfortunate situation. But when you make decisions, there are also consequences to your decisions. And I think that this is a missed opportunity when you have so many adults that are choosing to operate on their lower self instead of going to a higher level of mentality to say, listen, this is what needs to be changed. This is what's right. This is what's wrong. But we're dealing with people that operate on a low vibrational scale to where everything in this situation is being equated to race. And I think that that's just a missed opportunity.
Check this out. Check this out. Listen very closely to what I'm about to read to you. As time advances and race prejudice increases, it will become almost impossible in many places for white workers to labor for the colored people. Satanic antagonism. The entire system of racial caste and slavery as originating from Satan. Demonic forces works with intensity to keep these prejudices alive, to foster hatred. Religious and societal leaders and social leaders, both black and white, who lack the true spirit of Christ, will make false statements arousing in the minds of the people such a feeling of antagonism that they will be ready to destroy and to kill.
That's what we're seeing.
That's what we're seeing.
That's what we're seeing.
So remember what I always say when I come on. Remember my whole core thing. I always look at the picture behind the picture. Because remember what Ephesians 6:11-17 talks about. You're not wrestling against another human. You wrestling against an evil power system that is being manipulated by the evil one of those who have a heart for God and want to stand for goodness and justice and what's fair and what's right. The enemy don't like that. So anybody that's walking around with that in their heart and their soul and they standing up for that, you are enemy to Satan. You an op. He hates you.
That's true.
So what do? He do the same thing that he did to the crowd when Pilate said, Barabbas or Jesus. It says, if you go back into the commentaries of the theologians, they say evil fallen angels were speaking to men who already had their heart messed up and corrupted. Remember what Ply said in his first album? Now, he used the word N-I-double-G-A, but you can place that word and put anybody's name there, or a person, man, woman, whatever. If a person's heart is not right, there's no telling what they will do. And I'm at this part, when they under demonic influence, now put them in front of a camera, put them in the House Senate, put them in the House of Representatives, put them as a governor or a mayor, put them in the district as a superintendent. I yield back. When you look at it from that perspective, everything it makes sense now. You like, oh, wow. Remember what Bob Marley believed in his soul? Can you hear me? Bob Marley, and I say this last point, Bob Marley truly believed that his music of love and goodness can really heal and conquer racism.
Wow. It's a sickness. It's a sickness.
We said that earlier, Joe. We've been talking about how a sickness it is.
Yeah.
It's big money in that sickness.
It's big money. And like you said, it's all tied in to Satan. Yeah. You know, if they can keep humanity divided, you know, they you know, if you notice a lot, and we're gonna wrap up this thing with Karmelo, and we're gonna move on to Rick Chow right quick, verdict. Because see, when you're able to not be biased in your viewpoint, you can see each case for what it is, each situation for what it is. We're not saying that no racism exists in America, but what we're saying is you have to use your discernment to decipher between each situation and not just bunch it all together. That's a surface level thinker.
Yeah. But you know what, Joe? And we talk about this all the time. You know, Brother Muse, a lot of the people that look like us, a lot of these activists, a lot of these so-called ones that has been marching for 50 and 60 years, the ones that are in the same positions, okay, the ones that are the problem, okay, and I would say a part of the problem, because again, they get paid big money to keep us divided, okay? They are on a mission. They have a mission to keep us divided. They like this, they like the division. You understand? You notice they never come out until it's, you see how publicized and the publicity around this case with this young boy. And it's because he's white and Karmelo is black. But if you take it, and again, that's when you have your Black Lives Matter movement. You have all these people that's coming out. But that's, again, we never see them in our communities. really what a real crime is. You understand what the real devil is really running rapid.
Yeah.
See
Hey,
them there.
sis,
What you
implement what I got it on the screen. What Noob just said. Racism is the crutch people stand on when they've got nothing else to justify their actions.
Yeah.
That's true. That's what they stand on.
Bam.
That's it. That's it. That's it right there. When they can't justify anything, that's what they pull from. You understand? And so now it's and I've told you before, like I feel sorry for a lot of like our people, like the way we have been, the things that have been conditioned and indoctrinated in us to believe and hate and the hatred towards people. And it's like, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about like how we are really losing. We're only at a certain percentile, and it's not because other races is doing it to us, it's what we're doing to ourselves. But you don't see a lot of these politicians that's in these positions that's really out speaking out about this, because it cuts into their money. They don't want any healing within the Black community. They are just a face, okay? They are a face for an organization, okay, that keeps them employed. And therefore, you don't see them out here telling these young boys to put the guns down. You don't see them out, but you will see them only call out when it's a cop killing a Black kid or a Black person, or if in this case with Karmelo Anthony. That's when you see them. And that's why I say you got a lot of Black people that are looking for this voice. You understand? And these voices are really burning, like Dr. Martin Luther King said, he was afraid that he was leading his people into a burning building. These people, this is what they're doing. And that's what upsets me the most, because people vote these people in office that look like us because of the color of their skin, and not realizing it's about the laws and different things that's being passed, and that we keep voting for these people in office. And you look at the communities, you look at your areas, you got Black mayors that can do something. They choose not to do anything because that cuts into their funding. They don't give a flip about the Dracos in Chicago. They don't care about none of this with these teens. They don't care. Fact. Their job is to keep us at a low percentile. I don't know what, but it's like, and me and bro talk about it all the time. I'm like, I think I'm tired of them gaslighting our people. I'm tired of them lying and just manipulating. You understand? Because they have a image to portray, or they want to keep a position. It's not about, they don't care about the people. They care about their paycheck and their image. They needing their people. You got people now that's in the pulpit. You ain't never seen nobody in the pulpits talking about break this and what I'm saying, that we need to come together. No, what they doing, they using that political, they using politics in the pulpit now. They don't want, and you instead of them leading people to Christ, they drawing a further from him.
Thanks. Now, I'm gonna get off into this next subject, which is about Rick Chow and the verdict. And for people that don't know, Rick Chow is a Asian man that is the owner of a gas station in South Carolina. Oh, go ahead, brother.
No. I think I might have heard of that. I'm about to get up out of here because I'm still at work. Let me read these last two really short, brief things. It's going to blow your socks off. Here's the antidote to end time racism. Check this out. This is powerful. Mm-hmm. According to human legislation, they cannot permanently fix the human heart. The only absolute cure for racism is genuine conversion and the indwelling love of God, which melts away the color line and walls of separation.
Woo!
When the Holy Spirit is poured out in the final days, true believers will achieve a total triumphum of humanity over prejudice, seeing all individuals as equal in Christ.
Wow.
That's
man,
true. That's powerful.
That was powerful right there, brother. Man, I got to tip my hat off to you for that one, bro. That was the A. And you know what, brother Muse been hitting me up like, hey, let me know when you go live next time, bro, because I got some stuff to get off my chest. I know you got to get up out of here, bro, but man, you've been a excellent addition to this live, and I appreciate you, bro. You know, I'm gonna always reach for you whenever you available, to come bless us with your knowledge and wisdom.
Yes, sir. And
thank you, brother Muse.
I want to surprise my sister here. I told brother JT that let me know. It don't tell her. I'm gonna surprise her.
Hey, you just don't know. You made my day, because I be asking like, man, what brother Muse like? Asking about you. But you made my day today, brother Muse, because it is always a blessing to have you. You just changed the whole, the little atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? When you come on our lives, and I'm made my day today. I'm telling you, I'm so glad you came by and brought some knowledge and dropped some gems with us today. I am.
God is an on-time God. If we would just get out the way, if we would get out the way and let him use us, he got everything together. He just want us to, hey, trust me, I got you. I see what's going on. Hey, but my ways ain't your ways. I can't do it like that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, he wants to save as much of humanity as he possibly can. That's what it comes down to. However, people have a free will and the power to say, I don't want to be on that. That's really what hellfire separation is about. Choice. Is that God is not going to make you be someplace with him that you don't want to be.
Thank you.
If you ain't want his presence while you was on earth, why would you want to be in his presence in heaven and have a new glorified body? That don't sound right. That don't sound fair.
Man.
And that's really the essence of what we're talking about with young people today with this lives is about choices.
Yep.
God gives you choices. Yep. Society gives you choices. Yep. If you just have to make the right choices. If you make the wrong choices, it's okay if you repent and acknowledge that.
And understand that mom and daddy, they can do all they can, but at some point in time when you get of age, mom and daddy can't always be there to say, especially when the enemy is lurking every second. Do you understand what I'm saying? So these kids got to make the choices and understand that, and get more of Christ and Christ like, and I'm telling you, it's I teach my kids that all the time. That's what we live by.
Yeah.
But it's in them. You understand? And as long as it's in them, and they might stray away for a little bit, but they know to come back.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, peace and blessing to y'all, man. Hit me later, bro.
Muse, I love you, brother Muse. I love you.
Yeah, love you, bro.
Love you, bro. Man, the enemy was stopping me, boy. I was having a problem with my devices. I got a new phone. I had changed that, went onto my tablet. Then I tried to Bluetooth with my headset. It ain't the normal headset I use. I'm like, what is going on with this?
Man, but that guy show you that, hey, man, the enemy working, but God working even harder because you can't.
There you go, bro. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings, y'all. We'll holler later.
We will. Love you, brother Muse. Take care. Okay.
Love you too. All right.
Yep. So, man, that was brother Muse, man. That was a blessing to have that brother come through, bless us with some gems. It's always a blessing, man. Have brother Muse in the building. We're gonna get off into the next subject. Rick Chow murdered. Like I was saying, this is a man that's an Asian man that owns a gas station in South Carolina. And he was just acquitted of a 2023 incident where he actually unalived a 14-year-old kid, a young black boy, and you know, a lot of people, it's been very controversial as of yet. I've just heard about this situation. I did some slight commentary on it, and this is how you're able to decipher different situations when you're not looking at it through a racial lens. You're looking at it through like, okay, this could be an injustice, but also you have to factor in the law in different states. So we're gonna break that down. But just before we get off into our breakdown, I want to play this video to get everybody up to speed that may not be aware of this situation.
Begin tonight's broadcast with a follow-up to last night's not guilty verdict of Rick Chow, a day after he was acquitted of murdering 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton. We saw reaction, or we're getting reaction from the community. Our crews saw protesters gathered outside Chow's former gas station off of Park Lane Road in Columbia. Richland deputies also at the store now at this hour. They have been there since shortly after the verdict was announced last night. News 19's Whitney Sullivan speaking with criminal defense attorney John Mobley tonight. He was asked, where does he believe things possibly broke down for the prosecution in presenting his case?
From opening statements, one of the vast contrasts that I saw between the prosecution and the defense, where I believe the prosecutors dropped the ball, is they didn't really do much to humanize the victim in the case. And I remember listening to both opening statements. And while the prosecutor, the solicitor, did mention he was 14 years old, that was kind of it. Had I been prosecuting that case, I would have talked about not only his age, but where he went to school, hey, what he liked to do for fun, what video games he liked. I would have wanted to bring him to life so the jurors could have some image of this young man, this life in their mind, and they just didn't do that. Another something I would have done differently if I was a prosecutor, and I don't think that they really leaned into the fact that this teen was hunted. They talked about him being chased out of the store about a bottle of water. That was kind of their big theme. They kind of hung everything on that, all about a bottle of water. This teen was hunted. I mean, 130 yards. And I remember when in opening statements, when they talked about that, one thing I thought was great was he described that it was that 130 yards would be the equivalent of a football field goalpost to goalpost. Had I given that opening statement, I would have had that picture up there. I would have had a visual picture of a football field from goalpost to goalpost so the jury could see how far they hunted. These two grown men hunted this 14-year-old. And I would have used that word. I wouldn't have said chase. I would have said hunted. That's how I would have really portrayed this. And which I think is accurate, quite frankly. Now, on the flip side, the defense, in their opening statement, they talked about the defendant's credentials and how he came to America and how he built his business and his family. They gave the jury all this information to humanize this person. So, I mean, big difference. I think that made a big difference in the jury's mind because they can identify with one side more than the other.
Again, criminal defense attorney John Mobley with his opinion about what happened in this case. And new tonight, we're hearing from the Fifth Circuit Solicitor Byron Gibson on the not guilty verdict. He did issue a statement late today saying that last night's verdict has brought on strong emotions from our local and national communities. He added that he's disappointed with last night's outcome and continues to believe that Chow's actions were not justifiable. However, he adds that he respects our criminal justice system and the jury's decision. For complete coverage of the Rick Chow trial from the past week.
Okay, so now obviously a very different scenario and situation from the Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf type of scenario. This young boy, 14 years old, went to this gas station, went into the cooler, grabbed with a backpack on, grabbed 4 bottles of water, and then decided to put the waters back for whatever reason. He didn't steal anything. The owners were following him the whole time because, let's be clear, this gas station has been the subject of people stealing from it for years, and there's been prior situations where people, you know, he's gotten to altercations where he's actually shot at people or had, you know, physical altercations. But the thing with this particular situation is Cyrus, the 14-year-old boy, left the store. When, you know, now when he left the store, they asked him to open his book bag and see if he stole anything. He didn't have anything. When he left, the owner and his son took after him and chased him down 130 yards, and then he ended up getting shot and unalived. Now, for me, my personal opinion about this situation, he shouldn't have got off on this 100%. There should have been some type of charges. If it wasn't murder, it should have been manslaughter. Because once he left your establishment and he's a whole football field away from you, why would you chase him down to shoot him and he didn't have anything? Now, the problem came in is that Cyrus, the 14-year-old boy, actually had a weapon, a pew-pew, a gun on him. That was figured out after the fact. But the defense in the trial said that when they were chasing him, he turned around and aimed it at them. Therefore, they, you know, he aimed it at Mr. Chow's son. And Mr. Chow's son said, "Dad, he got a gun." And therefore, that's what made them unalive him. So my thing is, if you never would have chased him to begin with, you wouldn't have an unalive 14-year-old boy in this particular situation. But sis, I want you to go ahead, give your thoughts, and also I want you to explain the difference in the laws as to why what we figured out in South Carolina that's different than Texas as far as how the laws are constructed in that particular state.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like we had discussed, I think me and you pretty much feel the same way. I wish the owner of the store would have called the police before he, you know, chased this kid down. You understand? With a gun. You know, he clearly had a gun when he chased him. He, you know, unalived him. I feel like at that point, you know, he put the waters back. Like I said, I don't know if they didn't see that he had put the waters back, because I looked, and if you look at like the surveillance that what was released, the son was behind the counter. There was a mother that was like kind of, you know, there looking, I guess, trying to look, I guess, to see just on everybody's heel that was coming up in the store, I guess, because they was having so much theft or whatever. And so I know she was standing across from the young man that with the waters, and he looked like he got the waters, but then he put them back, you know, as if, okay, well, I don't know if he was attempting to steal them, if he wasn't attempting. I can't say what he was attempting to do, but he did put them back. He didn't leave the store with them. So I know the mother, the wife of the owner, had kind of walked off or whatever, and I don't know if she just thought where he got seen him get them. I didn't see him put them back. I don't know, but I feel like at that very moment they should have. If you felt that this young man had took the waters, you should have called the police. Okay, because what's just sad is the fact that it was waters and it was a child. That's the part there that I'm like, okay. But then, okay, you chase them. You chase them. No one's there to see anything but the son and the dad. The young man is deceased. So therefore, the young boy has a loaded weapon. Okay? They found it next to him. Okay, well, he's chasing, and again, the son says, "Dad, he's got a gun. He's got a gun." You know, the dad apparently asked him to put the gun down. This is a testimony from the son. That the dad told him to put it down. He said no, and he was apparently the man felt for his life. That he had the gun and he was going to shoot him. So he shot. Okay. So a lot of people was saying like, okay, well, he should have gotten charged. You know, he should have gotten charged. And this is some things that, you know, me and you was talking about just breaking things down, because me and you always up, you know, looking up things before we jump to conclusions on like the different things with the law and different things of that nature. But in South Carolina, sometimes you can just, you know, rush to prosecute and overcharge somebody. And I think in California, that's not California, but South Carolina, there is in this clause where the judge, there can be like I think in Texas, okay, if someone's charged with first degree murder, right? If they're charged with first degree murder, you can charge them with that, but then the jury can also convict them of manslaughter. Well, in South Carolina, that's not, I guess, given like by the judge. The judge, I don't want to misquote.
Right. You in South Carolina, if you charge them with murder one, you got to convict them on murder one. You don't have the option to lower the charge to manslaughter
unless a judge,
the
yes,
judge
give that option before trial, or the prosecution asks for that. So in my opinion, and even though people say I feel like he should have been charged, but then people also have to look at the law, because the law is just the law. You can't, you can't, and again, first degree murder, when you cannot prove, okay, that, okay, well, did he have a gun? Because they brought in the what is it? What I can't think of.
I want to address Noob's comment right here. He said, what business does a 14-year-old have going shopping, quote unquote, with no money and a gun? Well, I agree. 14-year-old shouldn't have a gun. I've been shopping many a times and didn't have money, or, you know, just go looking around, whatever. Now, my thing is, they didn't know that at that time. They didn't know he didn't have money. They didn't know he had a gun. So at that moment, none of this information was available to Mr. Chow. Where they messed up at in this particular situation is that they chased him. Once he leaves your establishment, Mr. Chow is not law enforcement. Mr. Chow and his son are not police officers. They should have alerted the authorities.
Right. But then here's the thing. And here's the thing too. That's what they probably could have got him maybe with manslaughter. But when you got to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt with first degree murder. When you charging somebody, you just can't say, oh, well, we had, but then you know, they didn't have that cushion. You understand? With manslaughter, because I do believe they may have, you know, he may have been convicted of manslaughter, but because of them basically overcharging, because you overcharging, because once that young man left, like they say, and again, I remember when I was telling you, like, they didn't humanize him. They didn't do, like, the prosecution dropped the ball. And a lot of times they would do that when they feel like they forced. And a lot of times that's what happened in, you know, a lot of cases where a lot of people, I want justice. I want justice. I want justice. But then, you know, you got to be, the prosecution have to be, when they get ready to bring on these cases, they got to make sure they ain't not overcharging, because there's certain boxes that they have to select, you know, to make sure, okay, well, this, and then you meet this criteria. But then when you get the overcharging, you understand, and then you don't have the you can't prove that it's first degree. You cannot prove that, because you got the son that was the witness. Cyrus didn't have no witness. The only thing that he had on him was the gun and the pew, and I'm sure his handprint probably was on that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So therefore, how can you convict him of first degree? But then you don't have any cushion. You understand what I'm saying? To say, okay, well, we'll convict him of manslaughter. Because
that's the difference in the state law. So
that, yep.
You know, once I learned that, I'm like, okay, I can understand. Because see, what defense did was present a picture of Cyrus with a gun. Like he was on social media posing with a gun. And they like, well, shoot, this looked like the same pistol that he was found with when, you know, the situation happened. So it's like, you know, is there beyond a reasonable doubt that he didn't pull it out? At that particular moment where the son said, hey, he has a gun, it's a reasonable doubt now because he actually had the gun and they could prove it because of this social media post. See, that's another thing we have to teach our children. Don't get on social media incriminating yourself. Posing with illegal guns and things of that nature. Because
and
now
it's just,
that can be used against you in anything and everything you do on these phones, on social media, can be used against you and will be used against you in the court of law. You got to move correctly.
Because the defense, their job is to paint you as, you know, even though you're deceased, but their job is to work for their client. Do you understand? And that is painting this picture to get their client found, you know, not convicted of that charge, you know. So that's why it is, like you said, it's important to make sure your image, you know what I'm saying, when you take these kids taking these pictures and they holding up these money signs and all this other stuff, and if anything ever happened, you understand what I'm saying, that's all they gonna do is pull up their background or pull up an image. And it's sad that people have to be justice is not served because of an image. But now it's like now it should be a lesson learned. Now, like 13, you shouldn't be out here. I don't even care if it's a play, pew pew. You shouldn't be out here on the internet with that. You know, these kids, they gotta be taught like this ain't cool. But again, it's the era now. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, anybody would say, what is a 14-year-old kid doing with that? You understand? Even with the fact of him trying to protect himself. Who's giving this kid? We don't know if that you, and I'm saying even for him, he don't know if that particular pew pew had a body on it. You understand? Where did he get this from? Who's what? All that go in your mind. You understand what I'm saying? It's just, but it's just an unfortunate situation to me because it is so sad because he did what I looked at.
I'm not gonna lie. I remember being his age, 14, 15 years old. And yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, it was guns around us. And yeah, we had them. And what we didn't have was social media. You know what I'm saying? So when you that young and you around that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying, with social media, nowadays, if you 14, 15 years old, you probably thinking like, well, the environment that I'm in, I need this for my protection or whatever his reason may be, right? If you go into a store and first and foremost, you have the right to change your mind, whatever, you know, store you go into. If you choose to like, I don't want to buy this now, or you got a right to put it back. If you didn't steal anything, there's no reason for somebody to chase you down. Let's make that clear. Mr. Child and them had no reason to chase that boy down because he didn't steal anything. They might have thought he did, but now he had no, you know, you could say he had no reason to have a pistol, but at the same time, he would still be alive if they would have just let him go.
And my thing is, what if it was in that moment? You know what I'm saying? He probably felt like, man, they watching me. Well, if he was going to get let me just put him back. So, or it could have been in that moment, well, you know what? Let me just put him back. Let me do the right thing. Either way, he didn't leave from out the store with him. You understand? Right. That's the thing. And that's the most heartbreaking thing because I'm like, this little kid is so, like, he's so, like, look at this baby. I'm looking, you know, at his picture and stuff, and I'm like, look at this
He
baby.
just looks
Like
so innocent.
he
Like,
looks so innocent. He looks so innocent, and it's like he's a child. He's a child that just went to the store, and he might have. I don't know what his intent was, but I know he left and he didn't get them. And I'm pretty sure too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's scared. You got these guys chasing you. You understand what I'm saying? Which I don't think, in my opinion, that's why I have to just say, well, I don't know, because I was not there. Would they have took out a gun and did that to him if they didn't feel like a threat was posed? You understand? Nobody was there. It's only their testimony, and it's only what was brought up in. But it's just a messed up situation. That I can't say it's with race. I can't say any of that. I feel like at this moment, this man done been stole. But at the end of the day, still, sir, that's not your place, in my opinion. You that's even dangerous for him. Do you understand? Because what if that little boy wasn't a child and you chasing a grown person and they really pull out something, or they got somebody behind them while you running and pow you? You don't never run behind nobody that you feel that has taken something from you. You understand? Like, even down to him for his safety. You know, yeah, you got a pew pew on you, but you don't know what's behind you.
right.
Somebody done, you know what I'm saying, waiting on somebody out the store, whatever. And that was just sad to me. And that young boy, I'm sorry, he should not have lost his life. But I also feel like at that moment, like, Lord, the man should have never chased him. But I'm thinking to myself, Lord, son, I wish you wouldn't have pulled out that pew pew if that's what they said you had. And obviously that's what it is, because they was able to find him not guilty. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
If he was, that's it.
When they pulled that out in court, when they pulled that picture, and like News say, he said, when I was 14, 15 years old, my friends and I always went to the golf courses to pick up golf balls to get extra coin for sodas and BS. Kids today just steal it. And that's the thing. This boy didn't steal nothing.
Right.
We can't even put that on him. Now, he might have been in there and they say he had no money or whatever, but he didn't take anything. In that moment, we can assume and all this, but he didn't take anything.
Yeah, they did confirm that he didn't steal anything. I think they thought but news is like you do got a lot of kids now. They will pick up, you know what I'm saying? Like they will take you got a point with that. They'll pick, but with him, he didn't do it. I just wish at that point called, and then see at that point, if he had that on him, the police probably, I mean, I'm sure he would have went, because you know you're a child with a pew pew. You understand? 14 years old,
so
juvenile.
If it wasn't Mr. Chow, if he called the police, it probably would have been the same outcome.
It would have been the same. Hopefully, he wouldn't have did that to the police. You understand? But it's like, that's just a sad situation to me. I ain't lying. All of it is sad because they're children. The Metcalf, the Karmelo, all of them are children. You know, they're just children. And you look at Karmelo, he looked like a little boy that was just looking his eyes. He's scared. I know I done messed up on his picture. And it's like now, you know, even down to that, you instead of them allowing this family to go through the process, they got to make it about hate and division when you got one family over here that's really suffering. Because at the end of the day, that man have to visit his son at the graveyard. You understand? If you visit your son, at least if he is convicted and he go somewhere, he will potentially get out. You understand? You still can't. Or if he's not convicted, he going home with his parents. Either way, he got to live with this, convicted or not. You understand? He got to live with this for the rest of his life. For the rest of his life.
Right.
You know? And it's just like the parents.
And the boy got a twin brother.
It's just sad. It's sad. This ain't about no color, no, you cause somebody push you or this or that. Like, come on. I'm pretty sure it's been plenty of people that's done push Karmelo in the past. Did he pull out something and do that?
He a whole football player.
It's just things of that nature. But you know, I do know football players You know, in that's a sport. So, you know, of course, but again, you know, they tackle and they do all this stuff here. But I'm saying, even now that you 13 to 14 years old, you know, you 13, 17, you done got into it with your cousin before, I'm sure, at 15, 16. Y'all done tussled a little bit and it going about your business. I just don't understand why this could be, even if people saying the weight, he was 210 pounds or 130 pounds. I got cousins that's 130 pounds, 140 pounds, but they'll put something on you. Size you will. Don't hey, they knuckles is like some steel irons. You understand what I'm saying? They still got that flow. Okay, so it's just that. I just hate that situation. I just hate it for the families. I hate it for the young man that with Mr. Chow. You know, the Cyrus in that situation, because that man, I'm sorry, he got to live with that for the rest of his life too. Because I guarantee you, he probably thinking at this very moment, no matter where he goes, his face is always that man that unalive, that child. Do you understand? Whether he is convicted, whether he was convicted or not, he got to live with this for the rest of his life. He got to think, man, I should have never chased that child out the store. I should have called the police. You understand? I guarantee you, him and his son, it'll never be happiness, you know, because of the decision. So a lot of times people think the decisions, just because you get off and you not, you know, you found not guilty of a crime, they still mentally, they got to live with this for the rest of their life. For the rest of their life, you know?
For the rest of their life. So let's get to this last subject with the teen takeovers. You know, we'll wrap everything up on our thoughts on everything, but we talking about young people today and decisions, and I think this is an important, and I'm happy that since you told me to we definitely going live tonight to talk about these issues, because this has been a wave going all across America with the teen takeovers. Basically a group, you know, hundreds of teenagers in any given city across the country of the United States, you know, just taking to the streets and destroying people's property and engaging in all type of felonious activities. So let's get to that.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. We want to shift gears here a bit and talk about some of the trends that we're seeing across the country here. I do want to bring this up on your screen here. And what you're looking at is this viral teen takeover movement here that we are seeing across the country. And I just want to give you a little bit of background of what we're seeing, as from upscale waterfront neighborhoods to malls, parks, and packed restaurants, viral teen takeovers are erupting across the country, with police responding to fights, robberies, vandalism, and gunfire as massive crowds of juveniles overwhelm public spaces. And you can see that we have 4 boxes there of these teen takeovers in Chicago, Florida, Washington, D.C., and Atlanta, Georgia. So what we want to do now is bring in our next guest onto the program here, Michael Gold, who is the founder of the NYPD K-9 unit and a former NYPD officer. Michael, thank you so much for joining us here today. So talk to us a little bit about the difficulties here that law enforcement officers experience when it comes to trying to deal with a large crowds of juveniles like some of these that we've seen on the screen here.
Yeah, certainly. So thanks for having me, Bowen. So this is nothing new. Urban teenage violence, teenage rebellion is part of the fabric of our society. We all, to some degree, rebelled when we were teenagers. This, of course, is taken to another level, but nothing new. In the 80s, I was a member of the NYPD, and there was a phenomenon called wilding. Wilding meant gangs of teenagers spontaneously went on sprees of violence, mugging people in Central Park through the theater district, unannounced and very spontaneous. It's difficult because teenagers are generally not held to the same standards as adults. So they treated completely different by the criminal justice system. In fact, there's a separate system. There's a juvenile justice system. So it's very difficult. So nothing really happens. There's no consequence. And we live in a very permissive society now. So it's a very difficult problem. And as the summer approaches, it's going to continue.
Man, and that's one thing that he said. Well, I want to read what News said right here. He said, "You watch what happens with their second son after school. You get your ass home. Do not pass go. Do not collect $100. Get your ass home, and then we can talk about what you going to do next." That's the parent. Where are the parents? Like,
but you know what? A lot of these, and I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna interject real quick because a lot of these parents, they can't do nothing with these kids. A lot of them can't do jack crap with these kids. Look at them. A lot of them, they parents, you know, some of them working second, third shift. Some of them just not wipe their hands with their kids because they are so. Look at this. You understand? This is out of control. This is like the demons on steroids. You understand? This is it's like they're just out of control. And I feel like what is it going to take? You understand? And I be thinking sometimes, like, you know, the justice system, do I feel like kids should be thrown? No, they should. But there has to be structure. Okay. It's got to be some structure with these children. And I'm saying it's got to be okay, whether they got to start a curfew. Okay. If you're not home, if you're in it's sad to say, but you got to break up these groups. If it's more than 5 to 10 in a group, I'm sorry, it's one of the things. If we can't, it's got to be some type of law, something passed. You understand what I'm saying? Something put in place for these children, because if not, and if they break the law, it should be where they go to some type of form of a detention for a month, some type of what I tell you earlier today. They need some type of boot camp. You understand what I'm saying? It needs to be something, because these kids, I'm afraid if this does not get under control, oh my God. The law enforcement, they can't, it's not enough police officers. They don't even want to do their jobs anymore. You understand? I'm pretty sure you got so many openings now with the police department. They don't want to deal with that. Who want to deal with that? And I'm telling you, even down to the teen takeovers, somebody's funding that.
Yeah, hey,
anytime you see these they funding it.
Now, let's be real. We said earlier, we played a clip earlier today, when people was funding the SPLC, they paying the KKK and neo-Nazis to be out here cutting up. So what make you think somebody ain't behind these teen takeovers?
Somebody's funding this stuff. Yes.
Somebody
it is. That's it.
They're organizing this. I got a 17-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
And they got, his mother has intercepted teen takeover stuff that been coming to his phone. I could post it on the chat. Like it's an actual flyer that's soliciting people from the ages of 13 to 19 to come to
recruiting them. They recruiting them. Yeah,
they recruiting them at a specific time. Hey, bring your whole crew. I sent it to you, sis.
Sure did.
They said bring your whole crew. We gonna be over here. We gonna be on 75th in South Shore at this time, and we gonna take over.
See,
and it's like, this ain't no kid that's putting this together.
No, no. And then on top of that, that's why I say the mayors can do something. You got your mayor Brandon Johnson. He can put a curfew in. He in place. He can do that. He just choose not to. They are trying to destroy Chicago like they are trying to destroy California and all these other sanctuary cities. And you got the teen takeovers that's going in some of these red states too, but they shutting it down. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're not playing it. They trying to get on. They trying to get this under control. But I'm telling you, these kids, they're and I told you when I seen them little kids. I was taking my daughter to get something to eat one day, and I'm seeing little kids look like they ain't no more than 7 or 8 years old out there with protesting about they hate ICE and all, and up with their signs. And I'm like, where is the parents? Where is the school? Like this is during the school hours. So I'm like, now they're indoctrinating the children. Now they know. And again, a lot of these crimes that's being committed, they're allowing the children because it's a slap on the wrist for them. They're committing the crimes for the people that's behind this stuff, the adults. So they're using them.
They're using them kids because they know they're gonna get slapped on the wrist. Now, what I want to share now, and like you said, sis, and I want to do some more commentary on this team takeover situation, and we gonna stay on top of the whole case with Karmelo as it progresses, and I know you said that it should be over by this week, so we got to go live more often.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, but this brother here, and I shared you this before, he addresses it so eloquently as far as, because it's our community. We gotta be stand up enough to say that this is our children out here. And this brother on Facebook, he addresses that situation. Let me see if this is the right one. Yeah, this is it. And he broke it down, like, when has this ever been cool?
Point, do you stop ignoring this? Why do we keep acting like this is not a problem? Why do we deflect to what other races are doing and what other kids are doing? These are our kids. They may not be yours by blood, but these are our kids. These are the future of Black people in America. No, it's not all of them. Some of them went out to have fun. But unfortunately, the ultimate result is these activities we're looking at right now. Y'all want to choose to ignore it like it's just going to disappear. And the reason, in the fact that it's gotten worse and gotten to this point, because we don't want to say nothing. Either too scared to address these kids, or we want to look like the cool parent. We want to look like the cool auntie and the cool uncle. These babies are going out there causing havoc, man, making it worse on other kids that don't behave this way. And no matter what you say, they're not going to separate them from those that don't do it. We want to get mad at racial profiling, right? And we want to say, well, don't expose this because it's the white people. You're exposing this to the white folks. It's the white folks that are showing this on national television, on every news network in these cities that it's happening, on stations, on news channels that are owned by white people. It is no longer a secret. And you don't understand why people don't respect Black people, man. We want to make all these excuses about everybody else, especially white folks, but we include other races too. Why they looking at us like, wait a minute, hold up, wait. Look at your own people. Look how y'all do each other on these videos, on these videos, man. These kids are out here shooting at one another, man. Some are dying. Some are being critically wounded, beat up and stomped out. But we don't want to say nothing. We want to keep ignoring this like this is not happening, man. Come on, man. How can you really care about Black people if you don't care about the future of our children? I'm telling you, once again, it is stated that if we don't change the behavior of Black people in America, not all, but I'm just saying it's way too many, by 2053, we will have no buying power. We will have no political power because we play too much. We want to be turned up all the time. And it's not just the kids, it's the old ones too. Come on, man. We have to address this. Well, what are you doing? I'm doing this. I'm using my platform, man, to bring awareness that our children are in trouble. Once again, not all, but far too many. And not enough is doing the right things out here. And that is an epidemic that we need to stop right now.
Man, that guy right there, man, he killed it, man. Like,
he did. Everything he said was the truth.
It was the truth. It was the truth. We got my brother Noobs in the building. What's up, Noobs? How you feeling, bro? Man, good to see you. Thanks
Hey,
for
Noob.
bro.
What's up, y'all? Can you hear me all right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Hey, I just wanted to add one thing to all of this. And that is, you all know I grew up, military. All right. So we had all kinds of kids. We had black kids, we had white kids, we had Hawaiian kids, we had all of them. But one thing was true across the entire spectrum. If you were a military kid and you stepped out of line, that was your ass.
Right.
And I am sick and tired of these crying babies that get online and say, "Oh, I saw a mom slap her kid, and now we need to get the police to go find unless that kid ends up in a hospital, I don't want to hear shit. That's his mama. If that kid needs his ass beat, then it's his mama's job to beat his ass."
Exactly.
I am so sick of this liberal
Me too.
bullshit.
Me too. Me too. And you see now everything that you saying. I've been telling bro a while back. Like they really trying to even take the rights away from parents.
Yeah.
All the kids. I'm telling you, this is where it's going. That's why I be saying like people be right on sleep and focus on race and focus on this when these people passing these laws right up under your face. Okay, well they are really trying to take the parental rights away from parents. It's
When
sad.
I was a kid, it was not uncommon to see a kid get his ass beat in the middle of a store. And generally, as a bystander, you ask the lady if she wants to borrow your belt or whatever, to keep that ass whooping going until that kid learns which way is up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's right. That's it. It used to be a time where you show out. You understand what I'm saying? Whether your neighbor was white or black or whatever, because at the end of the day, like
it's your neighborhood.
They were like family. It's your neighborhood. When you got home, that neighbor told your mom, I told her tail up, and the mama gonna tell your tail up too, because she had to tell your tail up because you know better. Nowadays, you can't even look at nobody's children now, unless they ready to fight you.
Yep. And I mean, back in those days, because you brought up boot camp a little while ago, and that's great. But it used to be that those boot camps were reserved for those kids that were just too big for their parents to handle. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy John grew up to be 7 feet tall and mom is all of 4'7". Then the kid goes off to boot camp. But man, some of these parents and some of these moms, dude, I mean, the 14-year-old, I seen his mom on the TV. She's big enough to pick him up off of his feet and slam his head into a wall. If she'd have done that in that morning, he wouldn't be dead. He wouldn't be out there trying to act a fool. But you catch on I just saw something, today, some mom was caught on Ring camera slapping her kid, now it's like a nationwide manhunt for this mom. Bullshit. That kid got up, fine. He didn't go to the hospital. Press on with your life. Mind your damn business.
That's it. See, now you got the law and everybody. I'm telling you, it's havoc now. They are literally trying to wipe parents' rights away where your children can really be beating you. How many parents you got right here getting beat by their children now? It's sad.
Yep, it is. And especially with all, you got a bunch of single moms out there and you got a bunch of single dads out there and, they got their head in the clouds.
And
They're not paying attention.
And again, that's why I say too, and I've said this before because I'm saying it for the people because it's really bad. And, within our community, in our culture, where a lot of these parents got to come together. You understand? You got too many. The mama mad with the daddy from something that happened 2-3 years ago. Now the kid don't have the father in the life because the mama mad, and now the kid ain't able to see the daddy because of ego and her being mad and all this stuff.
And
when
not only that,
you're doing,
mom and dad are using the kid against each other.
Thank you. I was just about to say that they're using the children against each other because of their foolishness. And now you got a child growing up And look at what look at they confused. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And they
Yep.
playing mom and dad because
Yep.
mom ain't letting. And then you got dad, and they know that they into it with each other, and they know that. That's why I say nowadays what they need to start doing, and this is they make all these laws when a child is born, and you have a mother. That child have that mother and that father. They should both have to take parenting classes.
I
They
agree with
both
that. I
they
agree
both
with that.
should have to take parenting classes. And I'm going to tell you why. Because parenting classes teach them, regardless of whatever you're going through, it's a class where you have to learn how to coexist and co-parent in a healthy way. Whatever you got going on, it should not affect the child. It should always be in the best interest of that child. It need to be more of that, because now you got too many kids, they having babies, and then the mamas and the dad, the babies coming out into havoc. They coming out into dysfunction, and they coming out into daddy want to be there, but mama, she in control because I had this baby, and since I had a baby, I control everything. So then you got dads that they give up. They don't give up on their children. They just give up on co-parenting. That's it.
Yeah.
They don't give up on their children. A lot of them just give up on co-parenting because it's just such a headache. And then you got it's bad.
Yeah, that used to be a big function of the church. Whatever church you belong to. You know what I mean? Even when I got married, and I don't have any particular denomination that I belong to, but we went to go see, a pastor, to get the talk and everything before we got married and that sort of deal. But I'll even take what you said and make it one step easier. I think the first time your kid hits the blotter, mom and dad and kid need to go to parenting school.
That's it.
I don't care if it's for stealing, just a piece of candy, slipping it in your pocket. The first time that kid hits the police blotter, parenting school.
Miss 10 days, 11 days of school. You going up there and you having to get a check. That should be mandatory for parents. It should be mandatory when children are born. Okay, the state funds everything else. Why can't you fund keeping these kids
Well,
and these parents?
I'll tell you, my only pushback on the part, where making them go when they're born is that is the state getting into your business when they have no cause.
No. What that's doing is teaching them how to coexist with a child.
Well, I know I understand the intent, but you make it mandatory because somebody has a baby that that is the state getting involved where, they have no, until you make a mistake, and that mistake is, your kid ends up, on the police blotter. Now they have a reason to get in your business because your kid doesn't know how to act in public. You know what
Why
I'm
I
saying?
say that news? I'm gonna tell you the reason why I say that is because there's a situation that I know of when a child, because when the children are born, it starts there.
Well,
It
no, I
starts.
understand. I understand the thought process, and I don't totally disagree. What I'm saying is, you can't put a mandatory requirement on somebody unless they give you cause to do that. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise,
Well,
that's
what
the
I
state just poking into your business. Because now what happens after that? Does the state get to read all of your pregnancy tests? You know?
no. What it is, what I'm saying is co-parenting. After you take that class for 6 weeks, you do whatever. But I'm saying a lot of kids are born because the parents don't have the tools. Okay,
Yeah,
what
I
they
agree.
do, they take the emotional part of them without thinking about the child. So
Yeah.
I do feel like when children are born, if there is if they could put something in place for 2 to 3 weeks for parents, this is mandatory. You take this class as a parent because you have a lot of young kids that are having babies and they don't know how to co-parent, coexist.
Oh,
They
I
use the baby,
understand.
they use
But
the babies as token, as
I
pawns.
I understand, but that's still not a catalyst for the state to get into your business is because you're having a baby. You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, I get that, but I feel like culturally for us,
Yeah, I know. It would be the best for the child all around if this were
be the best for the
common
parents as
practice.
well
Yeah,
because they
well,
know how to coexist.
I cannot disagree with that. My only problem is when is the state actually authorized to intervene? When have you given them cause to get into your business? My answer to that is when your kid acts like a fool and ends up arrested by the police.
Then that's when it's too late. Sometimes you have to
Not
start it
not
beforehand.
necessarily. Not necessarily, because look at how many stories we've seen lately of these repeat offenders being released with nothing, no bail, no nothing, just back out on the street. And so
Gotta
if you
keep
get
in
him on that
mind
first
too.
time, maybe the kid is 13 the first time he does something stupid, you know.
But then again, too, this is where I say that that's important, because what we say is we got the kid, and then when he get 13, maybe the daddy was not active in his life because he didn't have the tools. Because the mother, what I'm saying is, when I say tools, the mother and father was never getting along. There was no
Okay,
co-parenting. They had never
let,
taken
let
the
me let me
steps.
ask let me ask you another way then. All right,
Mhm.
let's say that we make it mandatory for all couples that what when they get married they have to go to the school, or when they have a kid. You tell me.
Well, no, it's not. I say mandatory when a child is born.
Okay, so
Like,
when a child is born, we make it mandatory. All right, that the parents have to go to a 6-week school, and
well,
what
it
is the
ain't even a school. They could do it online. It's like, well, it's not a school. It's just a parenting program. It's
right?
not like it's like like the fatherhood program,
Uh huh.
motherhood program, and it's like the parents, they co-parent together, and
Okay.
they just have the tools.
Okay, so
To
let me ask you this: if they choose not to go, what's your recourse?
I feel like if you choose not to go, there should be a fine. You should be fined, just like you're fined.
Uh huh.
There should be some type of penalty for not going, because at the end of the day, it all goes back to that child. The child is what's going to be out in society when it gets older. The child is going to be where it should be, where the mother and the father have the control, because we don't have our issues in the way. I'm not mad, and a lot of people don't know, they don't have the tools. It's what
I
I'm
just
saying.
I just don't see how you're going to enforce that. Let's say I'm a single mom. I've never been married. I got a kid. Dad is in the wind somewhere. I'm working. I'm serving coffee at the local choke and puke. 14 hours a day or whatever, and you know, for no reason at all, just because I had a kid, somebody wants me to spend 40 hours either online or in a classroom. I just don't see. And you're going to find them. Mom doesn't got no money.
Well, then mom got to realize the havoc of her child. What I'm saying is, it's not about mom. It's about
Well, I,
what it is. It's about the child.
yeah, but that does not give you the authority to impose yourself, the state, upon this parent. They've not done anything wrong.
But my point is, this is how I feel, as though there should be something that I think a lot of this will cut down a lot of what we're seeing now. That's why we see so many single these kids, that's because they don't have, a lot of them don't have fathers, and it
Right.
starts from when these children are born.
I
Okay,
agree.
when kids are born, I feel like if mothers had those tools and fathers had those tools to coexist, then we wouldn't have this.
And that's probably true. But again, it comes down to when the state is able to impose their will on a private citizen. And just having a baby is not reason enough.
Impose it whenever your child missed 10 days from school.
Well, but see, that's an infraction now, isn't it? You've broken a law.
Imposing whenever, well, not necessarily, well, it can't always be that, because it could be sometimes, well, mother is a child, something may be going on where this mother is, the child is missing. They impose on what they want to impose on. I'm
Yeah.
saying,
And now the other part of that is, I mean, and just think in your head, okay? We're just gonna throw this mandatory requirement out there for everybody that has a baby. How many people out there on the other end are gonna have the "you can't tell me" attitude?
we're going to have that either way.
You know what I mean?
It's either way. You can't tell them nothing with the baby daddy now. The baby daddy
Now,
can. So that's the problem. You understand? Or the baby mother. It's just, to me, I feel like if it's so many other programs when kids are born, in my opinion, and I'm gonna stand on that. In order, maybe we would stop seeing so many children that after the birth of them, they growing up into dysfunction because mother and father don't know how to co-parent and coexist.
now I'll tell you what you could do if one or both of these parents are receiving public benefits of any kind, you could then impose upon them a class for parenting. You say, "Hey, if you want subsidies for you and your family, then one of the things that you have to do is complete this parenting course."
Honestly feel like more parents, if that was mandatory, they would be for that. A lot of people have kids and don't have the tools.
Well, you and I,
Like,
though, I think we have one small fundamental difference, and that is,
yeah,
and I think, and I'm not saying this is what you think. This is just,
right.
kind of the vibe I'm getting is, you're kind of the camp that believes that it takes a village to raise a child. I'm of the camp that thinks it takes parents to raise a child.
Yeah, that's true. It takes parents to raise a child, but oftentimes parents ain't always around. You
Well, no,
understand?
I understand that, but then those aren't really parents, are they? If they have
Well,
not, because let me tell you something, and this is another thing, go reaching back to the military side of my career. You have to have a plan. If you have a child, you could be deployed at any time, and anybody who's ever been in the military can attest to this. You have to have a plan in writing for the care of your child 24/7, 365 days a week.
that's true.
Because
But
if you get deployed, then
uh-huh.
and that doesn't matter if you're married, single, whatever. Now, granted, you cannot join the military as a single parent. But if you should join the military and become a single parent, that's a different thing. And it's going to be a lot harder for you to come up with that plan because, again, you got a 72-hour bag in your closet. They can call you at any time to go, and you have to have this plan down in writing.
Yeah,
So
I
preparations
know.
can be made. And really the only thing that you and I disagree about on this particular topic is when it should be implemented. Now, I understand, implement it at birth because it's all about the child, it's not about the parents. But you can't just put this requisite on the parents without them having done something that makes it the state's business because you do
Well,
not
the
want the
state,
state in your house.
well, the state being they in our house now. No, I'm saying,
I know
like,
what
I'm
you're
just
saying.
saying they
I
they
know what
they
you're
in our
saying.
house every day of the day.
But
I'm
that
just
is
saying
not
that.
an excuse to give them more power.
Yeah, but I feel like it's. I mean, and I can't speak for, but I feel like culturally, for my culture, I think that it should be. I can, and I
Now,
feel like for it's for it, but for because we're the ones that are, our children are fatherless, you
mhm.
understand, and motherless,
Yeah,
and it's because of a lot of it that, when these kids are born, parents are just at odds with each other and they don't have the tools. That's
yeah.
why I feel as though that is necessary to have for.
Yep. But you've also heard the phrase,
Mhm.
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
That's true, but I mean, at the end of the day, the horse probably is being let. You can't make him drink it, but at least in that situation, it starts somewhere. It's a start. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's
Like
just
I
a
say,
start.
I'm not pooping on your idea at all. I think it's a great idea. And again, when let's say you're a married couple in the military and you have a kid, guess what comes next? You get to go to parenting classes courtesy of the United States Air Force. You know what I'm saying? But, they already have that foot in because you signed on the dotted line and said, "Yes, sir, I will do what I am told." But for the regular, American citizen out there that has not signed on the dotted line, in my mind, they have to have committed some kind of infraction before you can put a mandatory requirement on them.
Well, I mean, we can agree to disagree on. I just feel like
Yeah.
it's needed and culturally for us. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like
Now,
because
culturally, you know, I mean, I don't think I've ever had a better time at church than I have at a black church. And
yeah,
that's where I think the cultural needs to come in. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yep. But I just if it because my son he went through that and it's like at first no tools and I'm like look
Mhm.
both of y'all
Mhm.
need to take this pen and y'all and it just
Yep.
was the best thing and I feel like it should have happened at
Yeah, I
birth.
just have a hard time with that concept because I can't get the dude to graduate from frickin' high school. He won't get a GED. He won't get a job, but we're gonna make him go to this class, and he will be successful. I don't think
At the
so.
end of the day I bet you he won't have no more children. I bet you that if it's mandatory maybe it'll stop you from having kids too. How about that?
Hey, and hey, maybe if they don't go to class, then they just make it so they can't handle more kids. Snip, snip, buddy. You go to class, or
Yeah.
we're gonna put your testes in this little pickle jar.
Man,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and that was I really appreciated y'all exchange though because
Oh yeah, it's always good to have news come through.
yeah
Always.
I
man.
make a mess of everything.
I mean, nah, you added something very necessary to
Yes.
the conversation. I appreciate you, bro. And we all pretty much agree.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, that's the thing, man. We want to see the youth do better, and we want our young people to strive for greatness and not be subjugated to all of the victimhood mentality. It's
Yeah.
we can agree to disagree on certain things, but at the end of the day, this is unacceptable. And I think that everybody, with common sense can see that these teenage takeovers, these young people, we have to find a way to bridge the gap and be able to mentor, but they got to be willing to be open for mentorship. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Not
that's
only
it.
that too, it's gotta be too like more, and I say this because all of this stuff, the state you living in and the taxes you paying, there's
Yeah.
no reason why like that with you got a mayor. I'm just saying you're mayor. You're like all of this stuff with it needs something has to be in place. Like I say, for now, temporary, it should be some type of curfew. It shouldn't be
Yeah, I
well,
think so
no,
too. I think so
it's
too.
gotta be something. It's gotta be
Yeah.
something in place. Because
And
they just running rapid. It's summer too. Shoot.
and once again, the infraction has already been made. And so, yes, I 100% agree. They need to put a curfew out there and need to start cracking some heads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They need to
it got to
start
be
doing that.
there got to be consequences. That's the only thing
Yep.
they understand.
Mm-hmm.
I got one more clip that I want to play, man, and it's a positive. It's a positive clip, and I'm happy that it's from my city, Chicago. That the people are starting to understand that the community has to step up. And I'm happy to see that they're, with the team takeover, they're having a peace takeover. And I hope that this catch fire and it grows. And it's a really positive thing. And I want to leave on this note. And I appreciate everybody coming through and, chilling with us on this Sunday evening. But this is a very
Yes.
refreshing, video to see. The Peace in Chicago movement is taking storm. So without further ado, I want to roll this clip of this movement that's starting to catch flame in Chicago, and hopefully other cities will start to do the same thing and give the youth something positive to do.
Showed up and showed out. Peace Takeover 2026. Chance the Rapper. Bless the South Side. Bless our kids, you dig? The whole community. But imagine that, y'all. If community would just be community. For us to commune together in unity. what I saw today, man, was just that, like, a manifestation of what it could be if we were all just together and we would unite. It's going to take us to save us. It's James Williams, NBA ref, you're a real dude, real good heart. But yeah, man, who's going to believe in our young man? He did. We have to. We have to believe in each other. We have to really start being neighbors to one another. Check this.
How are you, bro? Father Mike tell me we taking over peace, right? Right. We out here on 79th Street. We running now. Peace on the line. Yes, sir. I love you, man. Love you, bro. Take care of yourself.
Father Mike, the realest in the city. That's my nephew right there. The realest in the city, man. You know, giving so much for so long. But yeah, imagine that, man. We come together and really get this thing done. Get this peace in our neighborhoods, man. We really need it. You know what I mean? It's the peace takeover. This is what our city's supposed to look like. The joy, the love, the peace. It's what it's supposed to look like. You dig? Yeah, this community policing right here. Look at that gorgeous smile, for sure. Father Mike stepping in the name of love, you dig? Gotta love it, man. You know, it's nights like this, man, that I just wish it could last forever. But it can. If we come together, it could last forever. You did. Got the baby showing her. Look at it. Yeah. Taking care of our elders like we're supposed to. Youth, elders together. Passing down knowledge. Train up a child in the way they should go. And they won't depart from it. Imagine if we just come together.
Man, I thought that was a good, way to kind of end it. The community, it ain't about race. It ain't about nothing but just coming together, and showing that, man, if all we did was, gave peace a chance, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be corny about it, but that touched my heart, you know what I'm saying? Just seeing that, my city is taking, some people in the community is taking the initiative, and shout out to Father Flager, even though he a Democrat, I salute him. But that's the thing. It ain't about Democrat, Republican. People are seeing that there is an issue, and they're taking the initiative to try to make a change. And that right there, things like that give me hope for the future. You know what I'm saying? And any final thoughts that our sister Mika, our brother Noobs got before we end this live? We almost 3 hours in. And I thought it was imperative that we came and spoke on this topic. And I want to speak on this some more because it's an ongoing issue. But anybody take the floor right now?
I got one last thing that I want to leave behind, and that is parents, raise your kids. If you can't, get your friends to help.
That's it.
That's it.
I agree, Noobs. I agree. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed the live tonight. I mean, just even the fellowshipping, because we haven't been live in a while, and we got to start going live, coming live a little bit more. But yeah, I'm just, I think if we just have more love, more peace, and more, happiness, this world would definitely be a better place, and as long as we, just on our platform showing love and making sure we have accountability and with love, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's all about. It's not about, like you say, black, white, yellow, purple, red. It's just about, us just becoming better people daily, and holding people accountable and just showing and spreading love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I want to end on that. The word for today to me is accountability. Like, and it's okay. We all human. This is the human family. We all make mistakes. We all fall short of the glory of God. But if you are able to acknowledge that, okay, I may have messed up, then you have an opportunity to correct that. But if you shut off everything else and just say like my way is right and nobody else is right, or then you don't have any room to grow. So it's all about taking accountability first, acknowledging that you have to change a few things around, and understanding that it's okay to grow and mature. But with that,
and having self-control, just all of us just having self-control over, like, even if you may run into a person that they may just be having, what I'm saying, they may be having a bad, but learn how to not allow that person's day to control your day.
Absolutely.
And that's a part of self-control.
Yeah, but we're gonna be keeping up with the Karmelo Anthony case. That's still underway, so a lot of commentary is gonna be coming with that, and other things alike. I appreciate everybody coming through, chopping it up with Voices for the Voiceless. This is the first live. I'm excited. I got Mika. I finally found her when she wasn't tied down to them babies. She got the babies. She was baby free tonight.
Yep. I be busy, news. I be busy. But yeah.
Then man, we got Noobs. Shout out to Noobs and Brother Muse for coming through, and everybody that was in the live chat and who will catch this later. Peace and blessings, everybody, man. This Voices for the Voiceless. Until next time, we should see you soon.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. It's the Voices for the Voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the Voices for the Voiceless. We speak truth to power and injustice. MJ said they don't really care about us. Forget the media and everything they say about us. They fed us lies and propaganda just to pacify us. We here to set the record straight and bring the culture balance. Too often the narrative one-sided, and way too often society closed-minded. Gotta see between the lines, look beyond the surface. Dig deep within yourself, recognize your purpose. Mass media manipulation, what we facing. Telling lies to our vision on these news stations. We need a platform where truth is not compromised. Voices for the voiceless. I say the name with pride. The revolution televised when we going live. Hit that bell button, like, share, and subscribe. The revolution televised when we going live. Hit that bell button, like, share, and subscribe. Voices for the voiceless. Voices for the voiceless. Voices for the voiceless. Okay. Voices for the voiceless.